Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Stockwatch Roundtable podcast for Big Brother 25. This is, of course, the podcast where we talk about everything from the feeds and we rate the players based on how well we think they are doing in the game. And we're here this week to talk about quite an eventful week. I've been teasing that I'm ready to crash the market here. We will see what comes of it. But with me to talk about this week on Big Brother 25 is Melissa. How you doing, Melissa?
Coming to you live from my parents' house in Colorado. It's Melissa. Anyway, hi. That is true. I'm in my parents' house. That's why the background looks different. I am very excited to talk about this week. What a week. I feel like we say this every roundtable so far is like, it feels like so much has happened since the last roundtable. I just feel like everything has happened and everyone's going wild in the house and it's just a mess. It's a mess.
Quite a mess. And with us to help organize that mess is Aysha. How you doing, Aysha?
I'm doing well. I'm not sure how I can, that takes expert level cleaning services to expert level organization. Like I should have a show on Netflix about my organization skills if I can help organize this mess. But I am very excited to talk about it. Man, this season has been giving. I'm enjoying myself so much. And it's just, the entertainment is just top tier. So I'm so excited to talk about it.
I guess we had to ask, is the mess bringing us joy? And the answer, I guess, is yes?
Yes, absolutely. I'm not throwing it out. It brings me joy.
All right. Well, we are here to, again, talk through everything that's happened this week on the feeds. And, oh, boy, there's so much. And the thing, too, about this podcast right now is that it's very much in flux, very much up in the air for many different reasons. Not only is the vote still to be determined, but there's also this twist that's happening, the invincibility twist that they've been calling people into the diary room all day today, choosing or letting people know who's in the top 4. And whoever wins this could change the entire outcome of the week by saving whoever gets voted out between Jag and Blue, because those are the 2 people on the block. So let's just give a quick recap of the basics here. Of course, the last time we were here, it was looking like Heisem was in trouble, but there was some last-minute flippery going on there. Cameron won the HOH. He went after Jag and Blue, who refused to do anything to save themselves. And then Red won the veto, didn't use the veto because, again, they refused to do anything to campaign to save themselves. And since they stayed up on the block, there's been some back and forth over whether Jag or Blue should stay. Matt, in particular, is closer to Jag, and he made a compelling argument to Cirie and company that they should keep Jag around because he's a better competitor to help fight against Red and Cam, which they agreed with until they realized that Red and Cam are actually still this bad at the game that they still don't realize that everyone is against them and nobody likes them. And they are still willing to actually put up people like Blue and America on the block next week. To which Cirie said, well, if that's the case, maybe we should just keep them calm and keep our target on Jag. Then she changed her mind, and it was back to Jag is gone, except the plan for Jag to leave is that there's going to be 6 votes on Blue. Cirie, Felicia, Izzy, Mimi, Matt is 5, but they don't want to include Corey and America. Another story from the week, Corey and America, and how they have fallen out of favor with the house while falling into favor with each other. And
yeah, that's
so,
what I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say they have fallen in love.
They are left. They want to leave Corey and America out of the vote so they can blame the vote on them, and so that Matt and Jared can claim that they voted to keep Blue. And so that's their plan. But in order to enact that plan, they need to approach Jared and tell him to vote out his showmans, who, if you haven't heard yet, he has not only done some with, but also told her his secret about his mom, and she thinks it's Felicia and not Cirie. There's too many different topics to fit into one recap, so we're going to leave it at that for now. But he doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to get rid of Blue, because why would he? But he still doesn't want to tell Cirie about the true relationship that's going on with Blue, because she will be very mad at him. And so he says, no, I don't trust Jag. I need to keep Blue in the game. And she's like, no, that makes us totally screwed. I don't like what you're doing. And so she went back to Izzy and she said, I guess we could just get the votes without Jared. And so that's kind of where that left off. We're still not sure. Jared's still being pushed around to try to convince him to do the thing that they want. And if he doesn't do the thing that they want, they are still considering going to Corey in America to try to get their votes. That's also going to be a tough road for them, though, after Jag ratted them out earlier in the week, which is another thing that happened. And so that's where things stand. The vote is still very much in the air. Jared's pushing back. Cirie's pushing forward. Felicia's mad at Cirie because she thinks that Cirie is pushing against the vote, but she's actually pushing forward on the vote. And through it all, there's this new power that's being introduced, that somebody is going to win and have the ability to save whoever is evicted this week. That's sort of what's happening on the feeds.
Sort of.
Yay. Good job, Taran. Oof. It's a lot.
I do love that you could have so many conversations about everything that you just unpacked, because even with the awful game moves that are happening, there's still so much happening. It's not like, it's different from the seasons where everyone's bad at the game and everyone's like not playing. Then it's just like, oh, okay, this is not fun at all. But at least they're trying so hard. I actually have a friend, one of my very best friends, Taran, loved your analogy about Red playing with the controller that wasn't plugged in. Like, she said she laughed all day about that because it's so accurate. It's just, and I love that Cirie continues to think that everyone's playing as hard as she is. I love Izzy's just undying love for Cirie, that like Cirie can do no wrong in her eyes. It's just the whole house. I mean, there's just something for everybody, I think, this season.
There's so much going on. Yeah, like you said, Aysha, you could literally have a conversation, like a full-on podcast about each of those topics. And I mean, I don't even know where to begin. Like, I just don't even know where to start. There's just so much going on. And I mean, that's not even getting into like some of the other stuff that went on. And it's just, where's the time? There's always something happening. And it's like, I feel like, you know, if you look away for like 5 minutes, you're behind. You're already behind. Like, you can't get caught up. It's over for you. You might as well just like stop the day and start the next day, because, you know, I don't know. It's a lot, and it's so much fun, but it is a lot.
No, you genuinely miss so like 2 hours of living your life. You've missed so much.
Oh, yeah. The whole thing has changed. It's a new target. There's a new alliance that's been formed. Like, I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah. I was getting my hair retwisted the other day, and usually I'm like a chatterbox in the chair, because, you know, you just tell all your deepest, darkest secrets to your hairdresser. And I was just like, oh, I'm tired today. Meanwhile, I'm like just going back and forth to the different cameras, watching the feeds.
Yes,
the entire time.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just, I mean, and that's the other thing, is that I would say like the majority of the time when you're watching feeds on a regular season, you can pick one of the feeds, because one of the feeds is going to have like, or like one of the cameras or whatever is going to have like an interesting game related conversation. And the other one is going to be just, you know, people hanging, people cooking dinner, people talking, whatever. And so you can just watch one of the feeds the whole time, you know, switching back and forth, whatever, and still understand what's going on in the house. Not this season. This season, both feeds have some important conversation going on. So you really like, you have to watch one and then go back, watch the other one. And then by that point, there's been 2 more conversations that you've missed. And I mean, Taran, I don't know how, I certainly can't do it. I don't know how you do it, but it's a lot. I just basically have to be like, okay, well, this conversation is more interesting to me, so I'm just going to have to watch this. I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's been a lot. It's one of those things where it's like when I'm going to get my hair cut or something, like I can't really describe how like busy I am to people, like without it sounding absolutely ridiculous.
Yes.
Like normally they're like, oh, you cover the show, it's on 24/7. I get that. And normally it's like, yeah, normally people are like overly empathetic for the situation. Like, it's not that bad, I do it all the time. But now I'm just like, yeah. They're like, how things been? I'm like, yeah, I barely made it here on time, and things are happening right now that I'm worried about. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, because normally they sleep. Like normally they sleep. Normally they just hang and chat, or they lay by the pool or whatever. And I feel like there's never just relaxing. It's like if some people are sleeping, there's still a few people that are awake and chatting about game. And then in the morning, the other people wake up and chat about games. So there's really maybe like 3 hours during the day when there's no game talk being had. It's a lot. It really
And even
is.
when they're talking about sleep, it turns into a thing.
Mhm.
Bowie Jane asking Suri, when is she going to bed? Don't ask Suri when she's going to bed. She's a 53-year-old woman.
Can't ask that.
All right. Well, let's talk about some of the topics here. Of course, I did send out a survey for the audience. If you want to fill it out, it's available. You can find the link on my Twitter. There's still, roughly 40 minutes left to fill it out if you want to go ahead and do that. But Melissa, I know you are a big AmeriCorey shipper. How are you feeling now that the ship has set sail?
It's a little much for me, I would say. I think I don't mean to say that I'm jumping ship just yet, but I do appreciate that Corey is like, no, I'm not going to do this. Like, I have boundaries that I'm not going to cross over. Because for me, I was like, this is too much too fast. We still have a whole season left to go. Like, I want that will they, won't they for much longer than just 3 weeks. Like, I need more. So I feel like it's now they already are doing it versus will they, won't they? And trust me, they're not doing it, but you know what I mean. There are other people that are doing it.
They're willing.
They're willing to, yes, exactly. It's willing. They are willing.
I think they're still a step below showman's level, though. They're still on a won't they, because it's still at the point where will Corey give in and we turn on the feeds and like they're kissing,
right?
Or
I think they're a game will they, real life won't they right now, which is part of I think why Corey is so stressed.
Yeah. I think like part of it too is I liked the dynamic of 2 super fans who like are talking about game, but also kind of flirting a little bit. And I feel like the idea of like a showmance where they're flirting a lot and then like talking a little bit of game is like not really out what I'm looking for. I feel like I want more game, more like chatting about the show and whatever. Like, and then like sprinkled in some flirt. But I feel like the whole and I thought it was very sweet when they were like cuddling or whatever, but I feel like there was a little bit too much push from America to go a little further than that. And I was kind of like, please stop that. No more. So I mean, I don't know. I'm not off the ship yet. I still really like them, but I just would hope that they kind of just let's cool off. let's cool off for a little. Let's let this, sit, and then, you guys can hang out later, especially because it's not really good for their game. Like, I want them to do well in the game. Like, that's like my number one priority for them. So if this is taking away from that, then I don't like it. So they need to focus.
All right. So basically what I'm hearing is that Melissa, she was in the ship before it set sail. She was like, this is the best ship ever. I can't wait.
This is the ship of dreams.
This is great. And then the ship actually set sail and you were like, wait a minute, hold on. This is a little,
yeah. And then I'm like,
much,
I'm getting reminiscent of the Titanic. And I'm like, I think I've seen this movie before.
And you're not off the ship yet.
I'm
you're
not
just readying the lifeboats.
Yeah, I'm just looking around for any sort of icebergs, and I'm like, oh, this is not good. So
not looking great.
Yeah.
All right. How about you, Aysha? Where are you in this metaphor?
I'm on the ship. I'm partying it up. I'm in the casino. I am watching all the shows. This is
not the Titanic.
Right. This is a luxurious cruise ship, 14 days. And I am cozy and comfortable. I think it's adorable. I do like that Corey has set those boundaries. And I think as long as, I know she's flirting with crossing the boundaries, but I think as long as she actually respects the boundaries and he maintains his boundaries, it's still going to be something that we want to watch. I think the moment it gets anywhere near Jared and Blue's level, like, no. But I do agree. I was a bit higher on Corey game-wise before they crossed that level and now are in doing the real cuddling, not just a side hug or anything like that. That now that they're real life cuddling, I think now people are more so saying Corey in America, whereas before it was Corey. Oh, and he also has America. But now it's Corey in America that we constantly are hearing. And I'm like, that's not a good thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's turn our eyes to the other showmans here.
Please,
because
let's not.
And we have to.
The secret is out, kind of. But the target is on Blue, and this battle between Cirie and Jared for the fate of Blue is looming over this week. I still maintain that like the easy answer here is just pull Blue in, get rid of Jag, the better competitor, keep everyone happy and calm. You don't want to set off Corey. You don't want to set off Red and Cam. Jag is a bigger threat to you, not only competitively, but he has better bonds with people like Matt. He's bonded to America and Corey, even though they're kind of mad at him right now. He even has a decent relationship with Red and Cam, despite them targeting him. They were just pitted against each other. And so Jag, somebody that could win and, build those relationships, especially if secrets get out that turn him on you, very dangerous to have in the game, versus Blue, who barely knows what she's doing, barely talks to anybody other than Jared, probably not as likely to win comps, although never know. That's what Jared's been arguing. And is just like completely in with Jared. Just pull her. It's such an easy call to make, but they don't know how in with Jared she is, and her lack of communication with them makes them feel like, well, for my game, Jag is better. For his game, Blue is better. Now for Cirie, that shouldn't matter. But I also feel like there's a listen. I've been watching Cirie. I'm not judging. There's definitely a part of this that is like, that girl ain't right for him.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I always think back to like one of the first things she was talking about when Jared was getting close to Blue was like, did you see how she made eggs for him yesterday? She doesn't know how he likes his eggs. I know.
Oh no.
Like, cause she doesn't know him like that. And it's just like, there's definitely a part of this that is not only just that alone, but of course a huge part of that very thing is also Jared's been in like the 7-year relationship, and she has a relationship with that woman too. And there's a whole thing going on over there. And so I very much feel like this is all part of like, let's get rid of this is not only necessarily a strategic thing, but also for the sake of Jared's personal life and his game life, I think I need to make a call against his will that will benefit him and us. I think that seems to be where it's coming from. Even though, again, from my strategic perspective, it's really not the call at all.
I agree. I mean, I think like it would. I think there's like pros and cons for Jared in regards to like getting rid of Blue. Like, I do think it's a little early for him to get rid of her, but I think like it would probably get his head back in the game a little bit if she was gone, and he would, you know, kind of branch out more and like kind of focus. But at the same time, like, yeah, that's a number for Jared. And I think for Jared, it doesn't make any sense to get rid of her right now. But yeah, for Cirie, I certainly think it's partly personal. I mean, she already said in the beginning, like, that she did not want Jared to like embarrass her with this like showmance thing. And I mean, the gossip from the other house guests, I think like, even though she maybe doesn't know exactly what has occurred, she knows that something is going on and everyone's talking about it. So even if nothing happened, the fact that everyone's like gossiping about it is not good for Jared in the real world or anything like that. So yeah, I think I definitely agree that that is certainly has something to do with it.
And could it also be that Blue is taking up so much of Jared's time because they are getting closer, that Cirie's kind of like, this experience I thought I was going to get to have with my son, I'm barely getting to see him.
Yeah, true.
Like if I went into a house with Pepper and Cinnamon and they spent all their time loving on everybody else, I would be mad about it. Yeah, I would want to vote them out too.
Totally. So, I agree.
I think that could be it. Like for one, we do see that, you know, like you said, everybody is grouping them together, or everyone is seeing Blue and Jared as like a duo, or grouping them together, similar to like Corey in America. But I do think that him getting her leaving the house refocuses him. I don't feel like it feels like it's been days since he's really been playing Big Brother. Like it went from trying to play Big Brother, trying to navigate things, trying to build these alliances, to protecting Blue and spending time with Blue. And everything is centered around Blue, which, okay, but that doesn't benefit Cirie.
It feels like this is kind of the normal life cycle of a showmance, where you know, when it happens, it's like, it's big, it's intense, it lasts for a little while, and it distracts the players for, you know, a few days to a week or so, and then once they've like established that that they're like together, that's when they start to sort of expand again. I think we see that like constantly, really. I mean, we're seeing it with Blue and Jared. We are seeing the insulated stage right now with Corey in America. Even just back to like Kyle and Alyssa, it's exactly what happened. Where it was like, at first it was like a sort of developing thing, and he was trying to maintain distance, and then at one point he just dove all in and kind of got sounded like nothing else mattered in the game to him, and then he finally started playing the game again with Alyssa, and then just shook up the game from there in a few different ways. And then and like even like thinking back to like the probably one of the more successful showmances, like Jackson and Holly, where, you know, for a little while there he was so focused on Holly that it was part of why Cliff was able to sneak in the cracks of Grateful and blow the whole thing up, because he was too focused elsewhere. But then he got his head back in the game, the two of them, and they started winning every competition. And so it's interesting. I think that like it's you know, worth looking at like the life cycle of these showmances and how they work. And I think that again, they can be very beneficial to you, but this initial stage is definitely the most dangerous, because it leaves you the most vulnerable. And that's where Jared is right now, or is sort of, I think, leaving right now. I think he's realizing that he's been dropping the ball, and he's trying to pick that ball back up. He's talking to Corey again. He's talking about needing to keep Blue around. He's talking to more people. He's advising Blue, you need to go talk to more people. He's trying to warn Corey. They're trying to flip the vote. They don't trust you anymore. And Corey, who's still in the la stage, is like, nah, what are you talking about? You don't know what you're talking about.
Corey, get your head in the game. This is not cool.
Yeah, it's happening to both of them. Because Corey is spending so much time thinking about not wanting this. And then he's just like, he's not spending his time in the game like he was before. It's tough. I don't know. I think, yeah, because I know some people are probably like tired of hearing us be so down on Blue and Jared. But hey, go look at that the video that Rob posted today. It was really great. It was it was Blaired, you know.
We love them.
It's all for Blue and Jared.
Hey, look, we're giving them a compliment because they're getting back in the game versus Corey and America. I mean, I think like I totally understand why, because it's like exhausting to have to think constantly about the game and constantly be strategizing. And then you have this like release where you're like, oh, I get to hang out with someone and talk about other stuff. And I'm kind of flirting with them. And it's like this fun new dynamic. And you kind of enjoy it and you don't want to talk about the game for a little bit. But you need to talk about the game. You just got to get back in it. We just need, I mean, if they get blindsided this week, you know, that'll hopefully be the kick in the pants that they need to get back in it. So if they have to get blindsided to do so, then so be it.
Yeah, I mean, it's annoying, but I still maintain that, like, not voting out your showmance is, of course, the right decision, even if it makes your alliance mad. I think it was the right call for Kyle last season. I think it's absolutely the right call for Jared this season. You know, Kyle had different problems that ended his game, but before that, things were actually looking pretty up for him. And this season, it's the same. I mean, Jared's win equity is infinitely better with Blue in the game than it without. Now, luckily for him, he still has Suri either way, and so his win equity is still going to be looking pretty good regardless. But Blue is a massive benefit to his game, and if they're mad at him in the short term, especially with Suri there to do damage control anyway, it's really not a big deal. The biggest thing is that he needs to get Suri to like be on board with his decision. And I think to do that, he needs to just like sit down and have an honest conversation with her about the relationship. So,
but is his win equity only high against Blue?
I mean, he certainly, I think, beats Blue, but like having Blue is like a full other person in the game that is super loyal to him, one, and two, would absolutely leave if he was sitting next to her on the block, and he would get put up next to her on the block if she was in the game, versus if she's not in the game, who does he get put up next to? Izzy, Suri, Felicia? Like, Felicia's best case, but Izzy or Suri would be terrible. Izzy knowing the secret, Suri obviously being his mom. So Blue being there just as a buffer to like get put up on the block next to alone is great. Not, let alone her winning a comp and doing work for him, just being an extra vote, being a loyal soldier, somebody that they can bring to the end game, who is going to take him to the end and he beats. Like, there are so many benefits to having Blue in the house that it's, for me, not even close to a decision to you know, make the alliance that didn't even want to tell him about it in the first place upset with him briefly, when, you know, this is the alliance that gets upset with everyone for many different reasons all the time. So absolutely not worth like sacrificing your best piece or one of your best pieces in the game for a temporary, like, they don't get mad at me. I think that that's definitely the call here. But again, I don't know that he's always making like the right arguments in order to do this. And I think the way that he goes about it is still very like, no, I'm open. I don't think he should do that. I think he should say,
not say he's
no,
open. Yeah.
I'm with her. I'm not going to vote her out. Like, why would you ask me to do that? It's kind of messed up that you would ask me to do that at this stage right now. and not tell me about it in the first place. Just be open with them about that. They're going to be annoyed. Yeah, they're going to be mad. They're going to talk about like, oh, what are we going to do about this situation? Well, guess what? They can't do anything about it yet because they still have a bunch of other people to deal with first. And by the time they get around to it, you're going to be like holed up with Cirie and Izzy, and you're going to have so much power, it's not going to matter. So, you know, that's my view, at least. But again, like, that's me arguing for an outcome I don't want. I don't want them to have all that power. I want Blue gone. I don't want to deal with that showmance. I like Jag a lot more, even though I don't even want to talk about his strategy this week. So like, I mean, this is what they do to me.
No, I absolutely agree. Jared, I don't know why Jared is even like pretending to entertain it. Like, I think he's trying to pretend like he's not like, oh, the showmance isn't that. No, it's not a showmance. It's not. I'm just like hanging with her. It's not a big deal to me. Like, I could take it or leave it. Like, I think he's trying to portray that, but I don't get why. Like, I get why he's trying to maybe say that, you know, oh, we're not that close. Like, it's fine. But when they're trying to vote her out, like, it's too late to be trying to like distance yourself. Like, that's not the time to distance yourself. That's literally the time to be like, no, we can use her. I can tell her to do anything. Like, Jag can, you know, he's better at competitions. We don't know exactly where he's going to go. He's been telling people one thing and then doing another. Like, Blue will be with us. She'll be loyal to us. Like, I can tell her to vote any way I want. Like, we're keeping her. I think just pretending to entertain it, because you know he doesn't want to vote Blue out, even if he's like, no, it's cool, whatever. I think that's just a mistake.
That's why the conversation last night between Cirie and Jared was so interesting, because obviously he's the son, right? And I feel like especially in this conversation, we could see like son Jared in like that he wasn't looking at how he looks when he talks to anybody else in the house, because obviously this is his mom, right? So he's trying to convince her, like, I'm okay with it, quote unquote. But look, these are all of the reasons I need Blue to stay for my game. And even with Cirie saying, okay, then yeah, that's what we'll do. You know, that's fine. He still wants her to not be mad at him. He's like, no. He was the reason that conversation went as long as it did, because he kept being like, no, but like, let's talk about it. She's like, no, you said you're fine. No, but like, I'm like, I'll hear you out. Just like, no, that just reminded me of him just not wanting his mom to be mad at him, and just like, hey, look, I have my own opinions too, but mom, please don't be mad.
Yeah. And it's so frustrating watching people make arguments for a thing that I think is the right thing, but like make bad arguments. I'm just like the biggest thing for me is like, okay, propose the scenario. You keep Jag in order to go after Red. Great. What happens when Jag doesn't win HOH and one of you does? And now you're the one going after Red that week, and Jag gets to play the next week. And then what happens when he wins that next week? Who is he targeting? Is it going to be Bowie and Cam or Bowie and Red? Like, really? Or is he going to be anywhere close to a smart player? And I'm not saying he will be, but like, you're giving him the option. Let's say he loses the next two HOHs. You win the next two and you take out Red and Cam back to back. Then Jag wins. Who is he targeting? Is it Bowie? I don't think so. Is it Corey in America? Sure, Cirie can probably make it happen, but it would not be his instinct. Why wouldn't he then team up with Corey in America, who he has a great relationship with, or at least had a great relationship with? He's got Matt, and he's bonding with Mimi, who's bonding with Felicia, who's mad at Cirie right now. And all of a sudden, things are just looking a lot weirder. And if you don't have Jag around, Blue is not the same problem. If Blue wins, you can direct her at anybody you want, and it could be Felicia, it could be Mimi, it could be Corey in America, certainly. And it's just such a better spot, and I feel like that's such a, like, you know, the argument is there, but Cirie lacks the information to hear the argument, and Jared lacks the like coherence to put it together for them, or for her at least. So you know, we that's where we are, and we still don't know what the end result of this is going to be. This is still going around. Cirie and Izzy haven't made a decision on what they want to push. Corey is telling Izzy earlier today that he doesn't want Jag to stay, which I would imagine discourages her from trying harder with Corey and America. However, Jared, when talking to Jag, so take it with a massive grain of salt, was like, I have been thinking maybe I do need to. I woke up this morning thinking maybe I do need to cut this off, or who knows. But it's possible they wear Jared down. So we still don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But
and it could flip flop all week long.
Absolutely. It 100% will. But that's kind of where I disagree about Jag. I feel like the way you just described Blue, you could also easily persuade Jag with the way that he's played. It seems like if he were to win HOH and he sees that as like, it's Cirie, Felicia, Izzy are like, okay, we are solid, 7 deadly sins to the end. Look at us winning. He's like, I got my group. I'm good. I got my group. And then I want to do something for the team, similar to what Cameron did. I feel like Jag should want to make a big move, but I just don't see it in him.
You have to remember though, Jag is the same guy who at the beginning of the season was like very cognizant of, okay, if we make an alliance specifically with those people, we're at the bottom of it. And I don't want to be at the bottom of an alliance. And I think he's happy to be in any alliance right now. I think he's willing to do whatever it takes to stay and be locked in with this alliance. But he knows that like if he takes a shot and leaves himself at the bottom end of this alliance, then he's just going to be picked off. I'm not saying he's definitely going to take a shot, but Jag's in a position to take the shot. Whereas Blue isn't. Blue doesn't have those connections. She doesn't have the allies. She isn't as much of a comp threat, at least according to how they're viewing it right now. And she is easier to influence via Jared. Whereas you're leaving the option available and the means available, both for Jag to do something. And even if it's not Jag, it could be Corey who could get into Jag's ear because he has that relationship. Whereas Corey could never get into Blue's ear because Jared is always going to be there to block it. You're leaving it open to Matt because who knows what Matt will do. He's loyal to Cirie right now, but he's very much willing to play all sides and very much feels like Jag is, one of his closer allies. He's somebody that could be pulled by Jag, certainly not by Blue. So I do feel like there are so many arguments that Jared could be making, but he doesn't always, I don't think he sees all of it either. So it's interesting though. And I think that like, this is, Cirie is a player that always considers all these options and so many players don't, that like we end up having these discussions much more so than we normally would, because normally people just make the obvious choice.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yeah, I think that, I don't know. I think with Jag, it's a little disappointing because I feel like he is a really smart guy. And a lot of the time when he is talking game, he's making a lot of sense. But I feel like he just can't connect the dots. And I also think like, I think the first week really did a number on him where he was like, we're to do this onion structure. And here's this, like, I already have it all mapped out and this is the way it's going to go. And like, he was very confident and like felt like he knew what he was doing. And then I think when everything fell apart in week 2, he just lost all, confidence in his gaming ability. And I think now he's kind of just like scrambling and trying to work his way from the bottom. And instead of trying to create a new alliance or a new structure or whatever, he's just willing to go with whoever will take him, and not really looking forward as to like what he should be doing to further himself in the game.
Yeah.
It's disappointing.
I do want to also just like point out that part of discussing these options and like me even saying like I think it is an obvious choice to keep Blue for Cirie and them. It's like we have to make sure we're containing that with the caveat of it doesn't matter. It hasn't mattered. Cirie always finds a way anyway. Like I said, like I wouldn't want to leave the option available for somebody to make the move like Jag could. But when Cirie is there, she finds a way to prevent that person from taking that option anyway. That's what we've seen so far. And And that's what I've talked about, this being such a like compelling / frustrating season at times to watch, is that Cirie leaves these openings, these wide open openings for people to take obvious shots, and then convinces them to go in a different direction anyway. Whereas normally the gameplay that you would use, the strategy would be, don't give openings. Try to limit people's options as much as possible so that they don't take them, because it's going to be hard to convince them to not do something that's really obviously good for them. Cirie instead is leaving these wide open opportunities and then just being, but you wouldn't want to do that, would you? And then they don't.
Maybe she just knows her audience. If she was just with completely different people, obviously this type of gameplay wouldn't work. But it's in it because Cirie is so active in this house. It's so hard not to just view the game through her perspective. And so this whole blue jag decision, I just kept finding myself being like, yeah, but Cirie would like.
Well, that's the thing too, because it's like Cirie, whatever she decides, it's like that's what's gonna like. It's like that's what she's gonna do. You know what I mean? And she's gonna make it work. All right, let's talk about some of these questions on this survey here. As we there's about 15 minutes left to fill it out if you want. So first of all, I asked the audience to rank the players from their favorite to their least favorite. Do we have a guess on the top 3?
I think Corey is number 1. I think Cirie is number 2. And I think Felicia or America. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to go Corey, Cirie. Felicia.
All right, I'll go Corey, Cirie, America.
Melissa, you are correct. Corey, Cirie, America, Felicia in 4th place.
How close was it between America and Felicia?
Not that close. It's pretty even steps down the line from Corey, Cirie, America, Felicia, and then Mimi in 5th. And then there's some close ones between Izzy, Jag, and Matt in that order. Bottom 3.
The
Jared.
bottom is Jared.
And then I think Jared, then Cameron, then Red.
You co-sign that?
I'm going to say Jared, Cameron, Bowie.
Okay. Melissa is closer. Cameron is at the bottom.
Oh.
Jared just above Cam. Red just above Jared.
Interesting. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So here's the order. It's Corey, Cirie, America, Felicia, Mimi, Izzy, Jag, Matt, Bowie, Blue, Red, Jared, Cam.
Okay.
I completely forgot about Blue. I probably would have said Blue instead of Bowie.
All right. Let's move right on to then from rank your favorite players to who did you give most of your votes to for the invincibility twist. So we're taking the top 4 picks. If this audience were in charge of who got to play in the invincibility competition, what would it be here? I can tell you, Corey, by far, the leader here. 53% of the audience said they gave most of their votes to Corey.
I would say Corey, America, Felicia, maybe. I don't know, maybe not Felicia. That's tough. I don't know. Jag. Jag, maybe Jag.
America.
You named a bunch of people.
We're supposed to name 4.
America was in 2nd place with 17%.
Okay.
Whoa.
Okay.
Cirie in 3rd place with 12%. And then Jag was in 4th place, a distant 4th place, 6%. of the vote. So pretty heavily concentrated on Corey, with a bit of America and Suri, and then very scattered from there, with Jag getting the most of the scatteredness. Yeah.
Was
I
there
voted
anybody
for-
with 0%?
Red had 0%. Cameron had 0%.
Yep.
Hold on, let me look at the actual numbers here, though. Okay, so there were 3 people that said Red, 3 people that said Cameron, 8 people that said Jared, 9 people that said Bowie, and 10 people that said Blue.
Oh boy. I voted for Corey and America, but I think if I had known the nominations by that point, I probably would have done like Corey and Jag, maybe. But I split my vote
for
between Corey and
Suri.
America.
Just want her
Did
to
you
have all the
really
power.
vote for
Yeah.
Suri? Oh my God. See, that's the problem. This is why.
That's what I do want to say too. I've just been so confused about the discourse on Twitter and everywhere online, because people are falling off the hype train of just going so hard for Suri, and it's like, oh, let's shake it up. Let's make things tough. Let's let her face some adversity. I have no desire for that. I am totally fine with her running this house. I said that at the very beginning of the season. I maintain that. I love her being in power, because I just love watching Suri work. She's gonna work whether she's in power or not. So why do we need to make it hard for her? And I get it. People don't want to see people just like succeed all the way through to the end, but I haven't felt that way yet. I have been just fine.
I understand that perspective. From my perspective, like, the best moments in Big Brother history are absolute elite level players facing a bunch of adversity. Like Dan with the funeral, Dan with a lot of things in his seasons.
Yeah.
Like, Dan is like the unluckiest player, one of the unluckiest players in the show's history, and also one of the best players in the show's history, and therefore creates these unbelievable moments. That's what I'm looking for when I know I have a player like Suri who's capable of handling this kind of thing. Like, I want to see her pull off miracles more than I want to see her like choosing which lamb she wants to lead to the slaughter next. You know what I mean?
It's just not as interesting to me. Like, if we don't see, like those miracles, like Taran was saying, I think like I'm not off the Suri hype train or anything like that. Like I like that she's doing well. It's fun to see her work, but I do think that like if the whole rest of the season is like Taran said, like anyone who Suri wants to go home, like goes home because everyone thinks they're in an alliance with her, that's not as exciting to me. I think we'd be able to say, wow, what a great player at the end, but like that's really what we would have. I don't feel like we would have enough intrigue, for me at least.
I'm also very much willing to admit that, like, the second the heat gets too hot, I'm gonna be like, take it back, take it back.
Yeah, for sure.
Take it back.
Yeah, I don't want Suri to be like evicted next week or something. Like, I do not want that at all. Like, I want her to stay in it till like the end. I just want to see how she can pull. Like, I just don't want to see everybody just bowing to her and just being like, oh, I'm in an alliance with Suri, and so I'll do whatever she says. And then she just like chooses who goes each week. Like, that's what I don't want to see. I'd like to see people, recognize, hey, Suri is in a really good spot. Maybe we should do something about it, and then not do something about it or whatever. Or then like, have her be able to win veto or convince them not to target her anymore for whatever reason. I just feel like if they're not going to target her at all, and they just all think they're working with her, we have like another Paul situation in our hands. Granted, the tactics that are being used are much, much, much cleaner and nicer than Paul, obviously. But, it is that sort of like same situation where they all want to work with her.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I feel like each week if Suri were like, all right, this week I want Matt out, I'd be like, okay, let's see how she's gonna do it. Like, I just been enjoying it so much that, and I'm also in the frame of mind that I don't think she has anything to prove. So it's just fun to see, like, even if it's like not in her best interest, all of these different ideas, she pushes a vote, and then they have, oh, we still have another day. okay, let's push it back. Let's just, just for funsies, let's flip the vote again. So I mean, I do want her adversity to be the week that she sends Jared home. I think that would be great and wonderful. And it probably, I mean, 100% very difficult for her because she's not going to want to do that. But with the way that he's been playing, especially if Blue stays, it could come to that where he's a liability. I mean, he's already a liability. But in order for her to like really advance in the game, I could see her maybe like being in a position where she can't control the fact that everyone wants him out over whoever he's sitting next to on the block. So I don't know. I am enjoying how if we in the season and she has faced no adversity and she walked her way there, I'm not going to be one of the people crying.
And I mean, first of all, neither will I. But I think more importantly, I think that like it's a good time to recognize that that's a perfectly valid way to watch the show, and nobody should be upset by it. Everybody watches the show however they want to watch the show. And when it comes to the show and the entertainment value of the show, and so it's because people I think people can sometimes be like, there is a certain way that you're supposed to watch the show, a certain way that you're supposed to be wanting things to happen. How dare you not root for the thing that is Team Fun Feeds? Team Fun Feeds has the moral high ground over anybody. So if you are not Team Fun Feeds, then what even are you? It's like not everyone has to be Team Fun Feeds, or just maybe Fun Feeds is different for different people. I don't know. Could just be that.
I don't know. Sounds wrong.
Yeah, I mean, and then obviously a lot of people want to see them, like they want to see everybody playing in their own, like what's best for them. And they don't do that, which is way more entertaining when people aren't doing what's the smartest play for them, which is definitely not happening this season. Like there is no way that, going into this week, if we would have said, oh, Cameron, what if Cameron won HOH? Oh, Jag, I'm doing what Felicia does. Jag and anybody else that's in 7 Deadly Sins, easy, go to Cameron. Hey, to save myself, let me tell you what's going on. And then, oh my gosh, I did not know that they were in multiple alliances. Okay, let's make a game plan because I don't want it to be me. Who knew that Jared and Blue were going to say, oh, okay, sorry, we'll see what happens with the veto.
I can't even talk about it. It makes me so mad.
It doesn't make sense. It just honestly does not make sense whatsoever to just not try to save yourself, not throw everything at the wall to see what sticks.
Yeah. All right. I asked the audience to rate the episodes this week. How does the audience feel about the episodes this week? The audience gave the episodes a 6.2, up from the 4.6 last week. So I think this is the highest rating for the episodes that the season has had so far. Week 1 was a 6.1. So it has just beat that out. And fair game. I think the Wednesday and Thursday episodes were both really good. And the pressure cooker episode, while disappointing to me, and I think probably a lot of us that watched it ourselves, I think it's still the pressure cooker. It was still good compared to normal episodes of Big Brother. And so I think 6.2 makes a lot of sense to me. I think it should have been higher. It should have been like top tier week of Big Brother episodes, but I do think they dropped the ball a little bit on that pressure cooker one.
Yeah, I thought the episodes this week were great. I was very impressed with them, and I thought they handled the pressure cooker pretty well. I didn't love how they pretended that the flies were real or flying around or whatever, but that's fine. I get that they don't want to just be like, womp, womp, the flies are dead. But yeah, it was a great episode. I had a lot of fun watching it on Sunday.
Yeah, even you mentioning that the pressure cooker was this week, I'm like, wow, that did happen this week. It's all a blur. Like,
yeah.
The fact that I stayed up the entire night watching people hold a button, and I was just like in and out of sleep, and I catch myself, wait, Is anybody out? No, they're still just standing there. It's okay. I'll just keep watching. I'll keep enjoying. I had the quad. I've never had the quad cam up so long. It was just wonderful. I just like that's how much I'm enjoying the season, because I can't tell you the last time I pulled an all-nighter to watch something on the feeds.
All right. Well, the audience rated the feeds this week an 8.4, which is the second highest rating of the season, still under the 9.2 from the first week of the season. I mean, honestly, it's like I get the like unbridled optimism of the 9.2 of the first week, but this week has been pretty good in terms of like it's given a lot of different things on top of the pressure cooker that was on the feeds. This to me is this would have been the highest rated week for me.
I 100% agree. It's been just I mean, there's even like, was it Blue said today, oh, it's a boring week. Girl, no, not at all. It's not. It's not at all. I just think that because this season is giving us so much of what we didn't realize that we were needing. It's like sustenance that we just didn't know that we didn't have. It set the bar so high, just coming out of the gate, all of the gaming, all of the just strategizing, all of the talking nonstop. Every time you turn on the feeds, there's game talk happening. It was such a shock that it was like, oh, this is a 10, you know? And so now that people are settling in and maybe decisions are happening that people don't like, but feeds are still active, we're still getting to see, you know, a great comp on the feeds. I think it's just that people were shocked. But I mean, it's still super close.
I asked the audience to rate the season as a whole so far. The last couple of weeks, it's been a 7.8, a 7.7. This week, 8.0. We're moving back up. We're in the 8s again. Things looking strong. I asked the audience to rate the invincibility twist. It obviously hasn't happened yet, but what's their perception of it? 5.4, which is honestly a pretty good rating for a twist so far. Way higher than I think it warrants. I think that my prediction is that aside from a few niche outcomes, like it actually saving a fan favorite, and maybe even if it does, I think this rating's going to tank next week when I ask this question again.
Maybe
Well,
not.
will it only be because they don't use it yet?
I think it'll be because like either somebody like Suri gets it, tells her entire alliance, and they just know that there's a wasted week, and they're just like, well, we know this week doesn't matter. And like, you know, or hey, if they do win, don't worry, we're fine, doesn't matter. Or anybody gets it and tells, and maybe if Matt does, like then it's the same, maybe it's the same thing, or like maybe Matt gets it and he just doesn't use it at all, and people are like, oh, it was wasted. Or it just, again, like is out in the open and everyone knows the week doesn't matter, and that's kind of frustrating. Or we know the week doesn't matter, and that's kind of frustrating. So I think there are a lot of ways where this could turn out really poorly. I think the only way in my eyes that this rating moves up next week is if they manage to get the niche outcome where somebody gets it that people want to get it, they keep it a secret, and it saves them next week, like maybe Corey getting it and it saves Corey, or somehow Suri gets it and Suri is targeted next week and she needs to, because like could you imagine Suri gets it and then Jared is targeted next week, and Jared would have left if not for Suri being able to save him with the power? Like there are so many different ways this could be really bad.
Out there.
He just did. He already put it out there.
I want that. That's horrible. Okay, well, fine.
All right, so we'll see where that goes. I asked the audience to rate Cameron's HOA train. They gave it a 2.8.
Yes, accurate.
Which is the lowest rated HOA train of the season.
He had a chance to do something big. I mean, everyone was disappointed when he won HOH, and turns out we didn't need to be disappointed, I guess, because he just decided to target Blue and Jag. So, okay.
He did nothing. I saw a tweet that was like the designated HOH room, the actual HOH room, which was like the comic room because Suri is in that room. It just made no sense. Like he was so just to do absolutely nothing with your HOH. Like you're coming out of this week the exact same position as you were before. People saying, "Oh, Cameron and Red, Cameron and Red."
Yep.
I need it, like it's impossible to describe. I've talked about the controller thing, and by the way, if Red is the kid with the controller that doesn't work, Cam is the kid sitting next to the kid with the controller that doesn't work, who's like explaining the game and how it works and all the secrets, except he doesn't actually know anything about the game. He's like, "Oh no, go over there, go over there, go over there, go over there, go over there. There's a thing over there. There's a thing over there. Go over there, go there." And there's not a thing over there. And he's like, "Oh no, it's somewhere else. Yeah, it's somewhere else. You got it wrong."
He's like, "Oh, I knew it was somewhere else though. Like why did you go over there? I don't know."
And then in walks
and so like I'm trying to because obviously I can't just like reenact an entire hour's worth of conversation. That wouldn't be worth anybody's time. But like if I haven't conveyed it well enough to you, just listen to one of their conversations for like 20 minutes. And see if you can avoid losing your mind, because they are that frustrating game wise.
Well, especially because Cam believes that he knows everything and that he understands the game and that he's teaching you something. Yes. And really he doesn't at all.
He's the wise one.
Like, I'm telling you, I am not exaggerating when I say just today Cam was talking to Red about how Corey needs to go. Corey needs to go because then, you know, they can loop in America and like, don't worry about it. Corey's the real problem. And Red is got his own thing with it. Nope. Corey's fine. America is the problem. And Cam is like, no, Corey's the problem. If you asked everybody in this house if they felt good about Corey, they would all say yes. And that's a problem. He's going to sneak right by. We need to take him out. And then after 5 minutes of Red saying that he thinks that Corey is good for their game, not good for the group's game, but good for their game, and that America is the problem and that Corey should stick around, and that it's a good thing because nobody really trusts Corey in the house right now, which is good for them because he's with them. Cam says, not 5 minutes after he just said the thing that I said just now, he says, yeah, well, the thing about Corey is that if you asked everyone about Corey, they'd all be really sketched out by Corey. So it would be good for us to keep Corey around. And it's just like, how are you describing this to Red when you just said the complete opposite 5 minutes ago?
It's because he wants to be right. And so it's like when instead of admitting that the thing he just said was wrong, he tries to pretend like that's what he's been saying all along. Like, I've been saying that to you. Like, you just didn't get it. Oh, you misunderstood what I was saying earlier because I'm trying to say he's good for our game. Like, you just don't get it. Like, he is good for our game. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Yeah. Do you think Red made the best decision for his game with the veto? 81% of the audience said no.
Oh God.
To be fair, the nominations screwed them over anyway. There's no right decision he could have made with the veto. But he still didn't make the right one.
No.
First and foremost was winning it in the first place.
Yeah. I mean, like, whatever happened to their whole plan to like backdoor Izzy? That
Red
like
talked
went
him out of
away right away. It's like, come on.
And to be fair, it wouldn't have worked. They would have thought it would have worked.
No, it wouldn't have worked. But I think like the idea that they're looking at Izzy as like, oh, this person has power. Like this person is someone we need to be worried about. I think that is the right thing, the right call. They just don't realize that they don't have any power. They don't have any backup. They don't have an alliance. They think that they do, but they don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they just hanging on to, you know, this Legend 25 thing is their downfall for sure. But even I even think, okay, given the noms that they were given, if Red had decided to use the veto and put up Izzy, then I'm like, okay, they're actually doing something. And it, you know, even though they try, even like even though they couldn't get her out, they tried. The try is what is worth something.
Here's what they should have done. They should have used the veto to remove Jag from the block, put Izzy up, and then say, Izzy is the pawn. I know we just screwed up our own noms, but Izzy is our pawn. Blue is our target. Because then Izzy would have been like, but do we really want to give them what they want? And they would have voted her out to fight them.
God, that's what they should have done.
Was their only hope. I asked the audience, who do you want to be evicted this week? 82% of the audience says Blue. They would like to see Blue gone. Who do you want to see win HOH next week? 35% of the audience says America. 29% of the audience says Corey. So over 50% of the audience combined wants America or Corey to win HOH. The next highest is Izzy at 12% and Mimi at 8%, and then it drops off from there.
Do you think Corey wants HOH yet?
He currently doesn't because he's being a big old dum-dum.
Yeah.
Jared's warning him left and right, and he is not listening.
He just thinks he's in a much better position than he's in. He just I don't see how he doesn't see that. Yeah. He has blinders on.
He has little hard eyes on right now. He can't see past the heart.
Yeah.
All right. I think it's time to rate the players. This is the portion of the podcast where we rate the players based on how well we think they're doing in the game. 1 being the worst, 10 being the best, and 5 being right there in the middle. Let's pull up the chart here. So let's get started. Let's talk about some of these players, and we will start with America, who last week got a 4 average. I gave her a 3. Melissa and Chantel gave her 4s. The audience gave her a 5. How have things gone? Well, she threw the HOH. I don't think she should have. She's continuing to be the scapegoat of most people in the house. Red is very anti-America. Her position has continued to fall. She hasn't really made any solid relationships. She really screwed up by telling Jag that Corey told her information. Yes. Not great in my eyes. Not great for America. Yeah, I'm going to go with the 3 again.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the 3 as well. Everything you said, this has not been a good week for her. And yeah, now she's got a bigger target on her back moving forward. I mean, people are already saying they want to get rid of her next week. And with the Corey thing, now she's in a duo, and they're not focusing on the game, and they don't really know what's going on. And it's not good. I really need her to get her head in the game.
I totally agree with everything y'all said, but I also still see the potential in America. And the fact that we saw her straight, just pure willpower get second, even though she shouldn't have thrown it, she still lasted that long. And so that showed me a lot about her and Mimi. And so I'm like, okay, they will want it. So if it's something in the future that they are good at, if we get a wall or something that they really want it, they have the ability to want HOH at least. And so I don't know. I think although she's seen as a pair with Corey, I could also see it benefiting her if in power. So this is all future oriented, but this rating is for today. You're right.
Aysha arguing with her own demons.
She's like, you're right. We're all just sitting here silently.
I hear you. Yeah. So I agree. I'll give her a 3.
All right, a 3 from Aysha. The audience still a little higher on America, but not quite as high as last week. They did drop down to a 4 for America. So she is going to land at a 3 overall. It's looking a little rough for America. I do agree, though, Aysha. It's not like it's hopeless. In fact, if she didn't screw up in a few different big ways this week, I would have been a little more generous, because there is potential between this twist that maybe Corey or her could get. And the fact that like all it kind of takes is for them to figure out what's going on, and then they have a fighting chance to get back into the game. It's just like that's a little too many steps away right now. And what are you doing talking to Jag and telling him that Corey told you this information? Like, come on.
So bad. So
It's awful.
So let's move on to Blue. Melissa, how do you feel about Blue?
Oh no, it's not good. There's a possibility that Blue goes home this week. Number one. Number two, Corey or Jared gives her the secret and she misinterprets it, doesn't do anything with it, doesn't know what's going on still, doesn't even think it like matters in regards to the game. Like, I think the only reason she cares about it is because she's like, oh, I'm like in a showmance with Corey, or I keep saying Corey, geez. In a showmance with Jared and his mom is here. I want to like impress her or something. Like, there's no like, oh my God, wait, this matters to me for game reasons because that means that they have an automatic built-in alliance. Nothing like that. She got the information of what she needed to do to convince them to keep her off the block, or even to like take her off the block and change the replacement. And she didn't do anything for that. She didn't fight for herself. She's still not fighting for herself, even though she's still on the block. If she stays this week, it will be to no doing of her own. It'll be outside forces that allow her to stay. So, you know, even if she stays, I still don't have any faith in her game. So I'm giving her a 1.
A 1.
Sorry.
Yeah, I could say Blue. Let's play I Spy, okay? Something that's white. It holds things, okay? And it's in frame of my video right now. She's going to say, oh, you mean Pepper in the picture behind you? Like, yeah, Blue. Bless your heart.
Yep.
I cannot believe that she just allowed, like, she didn't. I guess it's just like a communication thing. Someone's telling you something, especially something they feel like it's hard to tell you. You just let them talk. You let them get it out. She's sitting up here. She's the one that said Felicia. So he's like, well, okay. Well, I'm going to just let her believe that since she wants to go ahead and guess it. She should have just let him come out with it. He would have done it. As like he was dying to do it. And it's just that she just has done herself no favors. Poor Miss Felicia is probably wondering why this girl won't leave her alone. And just all of a sudden feels the need to do everything around the house with her, talk to her, find out her deepest, darkest secrets. It's just her focus is in the wrong place. She acts like she's not on the block. She acts like she's not. There's no potential of her going home. She's like, you know what I'm going to do this week? This week's a boring week, so I'm going to get to know my mother-in-law. And it just doesn't make sense. There's no fight in her. Like many people have said, she doesn't know she's playing Big Brother. And for people in the house to recognize that too, like she could easily, even if she survives this week, just put her up as a pawn every week. She won't care. She will not care. Just as long as Jared is there, she is fine. It's sad because preseason, it felt like, okay, there might be some things here with Blue. She might be a strategist. There might be some potential here. And then the moment she lands in a showmance, she does not care about the game, even to the point of being on the block, could be going home. She's just, well, it's boring this week. I'm sorry. Any week you're on the block, better not be boring because you better be putting your all. Like, even to see the fight in Heisem, even when he thought it was just like all hope was gone, he still was talking to people. He still was walking around, trying to have conversations, whether it mattered or not. He still tried. Blue doesn't even know where try is in the dictionary. So I'm going to give her a 1.
A 1 from Aysha. The audience, not quite as harsh. The audience gave Blue a 2. Here's the thing. Obviously, there's a very decent chance that Blue stays this week. So, you know, it's not like it's a complete definite she's going home, but it's way closer than it should be.
Yes.
She's been playing pretty terribly. I gave her a 4 last week. I was the highest on Blue last week because I assumed, wrongfully, that nobody in their right mind on Cerie's side would target Blue because she's so locked in with Jared. My mistake. But she has not done herself any favors. Her Felicia mistaken identity is hilarious, but her lack of like actually wanting to do anything about it is worse. But here's the biggest thing for me. This is the thing that is why I ultimately have to agree with you. Is that all season long we've been watching this delicate balancing act of people. Are they going to say the wrong thing to Cirie about Jared? Because they don't know that she is his mom. So they might accidentally talk about targeting Jared to Cirie. And all season long, people have avoided doing this. They've been lucky enough to be careful enough to avoid saying that they're going to target Jared to Cirie. Blue finds out that Jared's mom is in the house and that it's one of Felicia or Cirie. And the very next day, she goes straight to them and says, hey, if anyone's going to target Jared, it's me. I'm the one. Be mad at me. How? She is the last person in the entire house that should fall for this, that should make this mistake. And somehow she finds out that they are his mothers. And she's like, no, now I get to purposely make the mistake. What is happening? She's a 1.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And also, like, I mean, just because she might not be going home doesn't mean that she's not playing at a 1 level. Like, a person who's staying in the house, not even on the block, could be at a 1. It doesn't mean 1 doesn't mean, oh, they're definitely going home, that's why they're getting a 1. A 1 does just means they're playing at a 1 level. For the people in the chat that are confused.
I love his mothers. Oh my gosh. I've been seeing fake mom and real mom for a couple days, but his mothers,
that's funny.
Gold.
Oh my God. Whew.
All right. Let's Aysha, how do you feel about Bowie Jane?
Oh boy.
I just love that they think she's this strategic mastermind that is playing all sides of the house. Even Cameron and Red are like, we got to watch out for Bowie. We just need to be careful. We don't know what's going to happen with Bowie. And the people that she is like ride or die for, they can't trust her. They can't trust her to do anything. Like, I just don't understand. Yes, their disdain for Bowie Jane is something that should be studied. I think it's hilarious. I think it's confusing. I just think poor Bowie Jane. She's just living her life. I think that's what she came here this summer to do, is just go about her life in this house, make friends. Oh, we're in an alliance? We're in the alliance. There's nothing past there. There's no other, just, there's nothing else at work. But everyone else thinks there is, because they're like, there's no way she's just chilling. There's no way she's just talking to people about the alliances we already know about. No way. So that's hilarious. But Bowie Jane herself, yeah, her win equity is insanely low. I can't name a single person that she would win against. Maybe if it's her and Red. And that's an impossible situation. Quote me. That will not happen. So, but who's HOH and saying me getting out Bowie? That was a great move. There's so many other people to get out before Bowie Jane. So I think effing Bowie Jane deserves a 3.
A 3 from Aysha. The audience agrees. They also gave Bowie a 3. And I agree as well. I mean, I think that like America has more potential in the game than Bowie does. And they're both in bad spots, but Bowie's bad spot, I agree, is not one where she's likely to actively be targeted. Whereas, like, if America touched the block, it's a good chance she would leave. Bowie touching the block, if anything, would be next to America, and America would leave.
Exactly.
Like Bowie would be next to like it would be Cam and Red, and then Bowie might go up, and then one of them would leave, or it would be like Blue and America, and then like maybe Bowie. Like Bowie is not being targeted. People don't like her. She's not being included in things. They don't trust her, but she shouldn't be leaving anytime soon. But that's me making an assumption.
Yeah. We don't
Be
know.
wary.
I could see her leaving if she's like against Suri.
Well,
for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I'm giving Bowie a 3 as well.
All right, straight 3s there for Bowie. Let's move on then to Cameron, who also got a 3 from the audience. Low scoring round so far overall, and certainly by the audience. Hey, look at that. We have officially, I like to track the colors. 4 has become the new average for average score for the Stockwatch currently. 4 is the neutral colored square at the moment. So
oh boy, that's not good.
we are dropping. Cam. So I've already talked a little bit about Cam, but I hate the way he went about this HOH. I've already talked about how he assumes he knows everything and talks like he knows everything, and that's how he ran his HOH. He didn't bother to talk to anybody to gather information. And what makes it worse is that Cam doesn't have the worst instincts in this house. In fact, he's not even like close to the bottom of bad instincts for the house. Red is so much worse. People like Blue are so much worse. And yet, he doesn't bother to get the accurate information to do anything with that. And that would be, even that would be like, okay, he's not a very active player. He's a little too passive. He's playing his HOH too passively. He's being targeted. This is a mistake. But what makes it worse is that he does take in some information from Red, the worst source of information in the house. And that just tanks him so much further. Because he is the kid sitting next to Red saying, this is go here, and then it's not there. But occasionally he is right. He's like, oh, this is maybe a thing. And then Red is like, nope, that's not a thing, and doesn't go there when he should be going there, even though he doesn't actually have control over it. And Red is like, oh no, Cam, Bowser is the hero of this story, of this video game. And Cam's like, are you sure? He's kind of mean. He kind of like is like holding the princess hostage, and he's like standing over lava. Feels like he's the bad guy. Are you sure? I haven't spoken to Bowser at all, so I wouldn't know. And Red's like, listen, let me tell you, I would sacrifice my own mother before I sacrificed Bowser because he is the best guy. And Cam's like, you know, the thing about Bowser is that he's the best guy. I'm gonna give him I'm gonna give him a 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think the issue for me is that Cam thinks that he knows everything, or he's positive that he's right. And so he's not open to, oh, okay, actually, like, this alliance isn't real. I need to make a new alliance. I need to like come up with a new strategy. It's like he just is going off of what he believes is right and won't take in any additional information or try to get additional information. He's just like, look, I already know what the house dynamic is. So I'm going to base my nominations and base my strategy off of that. And it's like, but you're wrong and you're in danger, you're in trouble. I am worried for him in these upcoming weeks. I think him and Red are an easy two people to put up on the block. And this could have been, I mean, when he won HOH, this could have been a really good week for him. It really could have been a situation where he gathers a little crew, you know, and he gets himself in a real alliance and not this fake alliance. And now he's leaving the week in no better place than he was before, possibly in a worse spot because, you know, people now will definitely see him as like a physical threat. And same with Red too, because Red won the veto. So I think like they're not leaving this week in a good situation, and either Jag leaves or Blue leaves, and neither of them are really that bad for their game. So I just feel like it's not a good week for him. I'm debating between a 2 and a 3. I think like I gave him a 2 last week, and I think it gets bumped up a little bit because he won HOH when I thought he was going to go home this week. But I think it goes back down a little bit because he's not doing anything good with it. I think like this could have been his opportunity and he just didn't use it. I don't know. I guess I'll just stick with my 2.
All right.
Whereas you were between a 2 and a 3, I'm between a 1 and a 2.
Yeah, that's where I was.
This man was on the block the past 2 weeks. To get HOH after that should be your Cinderella story. You are about to have an amazing, you're about to be in the power position. You can get all the information you want. Just take all the info. Don't let anybody know what you're doing. Then everybody has to tell you things, has to defend themselves. Cirie literally walks up to you thinking she's already on the block. You haven't even gotten your HOH room, and she's walking up to you already trying to give a plea, and you over reassure her. You're good. You never were on my mind. You are totally fine. I love you. You don't have anything to worry about. He has just done absolutely nothing with this HOH. Like, what was 14 hours for this? You stood up there for 14 hours to do nothing, to get no information. I'm sorry, what? I'm so confused. How? That just doesn't add up. I'm sorry. Could you imagine standing 14 hours and then just not getting, like, just for nothing? He might as well not want HOH. All this does is, oh, we for sure need to put up Cameron and Red. And then of the 2, oh, well, Cameron has had HOH, so maybe we should get him out. So it's just like, it makes no sense. So he's going to be on the block next week. I just don't think that there's any scenario that someone doesn't like, well, at least we could just put up Cameron. Maybe we backdoor someone else that I want to get out, but the easy person to put up is Cameron. Why are you spending every week as non-HOH on the block? What are you doing? Like, look at yourself in the mirror and ask, what am I doing wrong? Rather than, I know everything that's going on in this house. Yeah, just you can't tell him anything. So nothing's going to get better. I'm not optimistic about his game whatsoever. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give him a 1.
A 1 for Cam. All right, let's move on to Cirie then. Let's talk about Cirie. Another week goes by, another failure for Cirie's game to crumble down around her, despite everyone thinking that her rating is too high. Not everyone, I should say, not even close to everyone, considering that the audience actually is rating her an 8 last week. Just the vocal complainers, I guess I should say. That said, I do think that this week looks worse for Cirie than last week. We've seen a couple of bumps in the road. This thing with Jared is like not great overall. Despite Red's trust of her, Cam is a reluctant follower to that logic. And even last night, Red started to be like, wait a minute, is Cirie with me? Do we need to change things up? I'm a little bit worried about Cirie. She even has Felicia and Mimi now talking behind her back. not like as loyal as maybe that they were before. Things are looking a little tougher for Cirie, and like I said, I do think that keeping Blue would be the easier path for her over keeping Jag, and she is still trying to push for Jag to go. And so I'm gonna drop it down a little bit more. I'm gonna go to a 7 on Cirie. I just think that this week it's just a little bit trickier. There are a lot of different ways that things can go wrong. Corey has so much information on her and her entire situation. This feels like potentially the tipping point where, first of all, I still have a bunch of faith in her to be able to get through this tipping point, but this feels like the tipping point for her game, where a lot of things are really starting to bubble over the edges of this pot. And I'm not sure how long it will stay contained. So for me, it's a 7, which is the lowest I've been on Cirie, but still, spoilers, will be the highest I am on anybody this week.
Yikes. Yeah, I totally agree. I think this is not a great week for her. I think, she's her alliance, especially you've got Felicia who's talking about, oh, Cirie talks too much, whatever. Maybe I want to work with Jared as a final 2 or whatever. Then you've got Jared who does not agree with the plan this week, and they're kind of getting into it, or at least butting heads. And then, you've got Cirie voting out Blue, possibly, which I think is not the right move for her. But I mean, in terms of, keeping Jared in a looking good, squeaky clean on TV or whatever, probably good to get Blue out at this point. But yeah, I just think this is not an ideal week for Cirie. But for me, I gave her a 9 last week, so I'm not going to go all the way down to 7. I'm just going to go down to the 8.
All right.
Yeah, this weekend I was like, Cirie's getting a 10 for me. And then naturally, as it does in this house, so much has happened since then, where you have the Jared contingent, you have the fact that last night happened where you never would have thought, like, why would her and Felicia ever be against each other? Like, why would they ever be talking about each other? And for her to have a moment of like, dang, can I even trust her? It's a little scary, but Cirie is someone who could, you know what? I'm done with Felicia. I'm done with maybe Mimi. And she could build up the other side of the house just as strong as it was with like Red, even saying he would, well, at least like a day ago, saying he would lay his own game on the line before he ever turns on Cirie. I just feel like if she were to invest in that side of the house, they could be just as strong if she were to lose that relationship with Felicia, which, I mean, as we speak, she's helping Felicia because of something with Felicia's blood sugar dropping. So they're fine. I think it's the matter of the paranoia. I don't think that there's any risk there with them actually turning on each other. I think they just need to be a little bit more open. And if there's anybody I have trust in that house, it's Cirie Fields. So I think given everything happening, the carelessness of the person that she trusts most in the house, that's going to be her detriment. And I'm so nervous. Like, to have a blind spot that is Jared, like, that's a huge miss because he's capable of anything at this point, lying left and right for no reason. Like, I'm so that he makes me the most nervous for Cirie. And so him being there just has an effect on her ability to do well in this game. So I'm going to agree with Melissa on this one and give her an 8.
All right. Well, the audience agrees with you both. They also gave Cirie another 8 this week. Although I'm curious to see if the actual score changed. No, it actually went up slightly. So it was 7.77 to 7.85 this week. So an 8 overall for Cirie. Melissa, how do you feel about Corey this week?
He was doing so well. I'm so upset about Corey. He's just like he's not understand. Like he's so out of it. He doesn't even know that Jag might stay. Like he's like, oh, I guess Jag just gave up, and I guess no one's been campaigning to me. It's like, yeah, that's a bad thing. You should be like paying attention to that. And then not only that, but he's also like he's giving out information to Izzy still, even though Izzy's not reciprocating and he's not getting the same thing back. He's still giving information to that side, thinking he's part of something. He's obviously not part of it anymore. They're all worried about him. And he gave important information to America, and America went and told on him, and then that got out, and now nobody trusts him. And you've got Cameron and Red, who Corey was working on this whole time and like putting a lot of effort into getting people not to target them so that they could stick around and have like two sides fight it out and him be in the middle. And now Cameron and Red are saying that they don't trust Corey. And that, it's like, I'm very worried about him. He needs to get his head back in the game. He usually has such good reads on the house, and I just feel like he doesn't have it. I'm hoping he can get that power this week, but at this point, I hate to drop him so far, but I feel like I want to drop him to like a 6.
A 6 for Corey from Melissa. That's higher than I would have gone. We'll go.
Look, okay, but to be fair, you gave him a 7 last week. I gave him an 8. So I feel like it could possibly be like same level drop. I mean, I don't know what you're going to give him, but
it's not. What?
Look, I'm giving him a 6 because I still trust like that he can pull himself out of this. I really do. And so I'm giving him whatever.
Aysha, how do you feel?
Well, so I did see today that Jared told Corey about the potential of Jag staying. So that's something, that relationship coming.
He said no. He said, you're wrong, Jared. And Jared was like, listen, I know these things. I've been right every time. And Corey was like, well, you're wrong this time, Jared.
Look, maybe I'll change my mind when I hear your guys' reasoning, to be honest. I just felt like I feel like dropping 3 points from an 8 to a 5 is so much.
It can happen. The hard eyes, man. Listen, he is just, you got to give it to these people in the house. The confidence to be right is just next level. I want that type of confidence walking through life. Just everything I'm just 100% sure about. And they have to understand there's so much happening in this house. You don't know everything. You don't ever know everything. Even in a house not as chaotic as this one, you still don't know everything that's happening. So like, just give people a chance to tell you something. Like, I don't understand this all-knowing just mindset that a few people have because they're just so sure. And I don't know, Corey in America, they're cute, but cute's not going to get you $750,000. So I don't know when Corey is going to have that clarity that like, wait, I need to get it together. Okay, I'm looking forward to these nightly cuddles too much. I didn't come here for this. He knows he didn't come here for this. And he's still just fighting with himself. He's in the corner. He's on the bed in the game room, just fighting with himself. Meanwhile, 50 alliances are being made downstairs that are all targeting Corey. So I just like the Corey last week would have been in on the vote flip. Mm-hmm. This Corey has, and I don't know, and with his cam talks, just realizing that he was opposed to the flip both weeks. So he's like, I hope I didn't, I'm sorry, America. I know that's not as entertaining, but still, Corey, you don't hear anything about a vote flip this week? You think all of a sudden it's not happening? it's a constant in this house. If this house is if it's this season of Big Brother, a flip is happening. That's just the standard they've set. Even it felt weird Monday when nothing was happening in the evening. I was like, this is weird. They're just hanging out by the pool, socializing. That's when Corey took his foot off the brake, got out the car, and decided to just abandon ship. And I want more for Corey. I really, really do. But he is just distracted right now. So I'm gonna give him a 4.
A 4 from Aysha. The audience gave Corey an 8 last week.
I thought you were saying this week.
This week, the audience gave Corey,
wow, a 5.
a 5.
Wow, so they did drop from 8 to 5. Okay, so it can be done.
It can be done.
Doable.
And now watch this.
Oh,
Corey has played abysmally this week. I mean, it takes a lot of work to fall from a position that he was in last week to a position that he's in this week. And that work comes in the form of trusting Izzy for no reason about endgame plans that involve cutting Jared and Suri. Even though it wasn't actually as bad as she then later reported, he knows Izzy. He knows he's literally that same day Izzy was freaking out about the vote, and the prior day she was freaking out about how like everyone else is going to align against us. The paranoia is real, and what had been working is no longer working. For Corey, he has failed to recognize that he has completely lost Izzy. She hasn't given him a lick of information in the last like 5 days, and yet he is still giving her everything, and she's bringing all of it back, and it's all just making things worse for him over and over and over. He ends up telling America about the 7 deadly sins, something that I was against him doing because I literally said, America is telling you that she is going to tell Jag this information. When she says, but I really like Jag, she's telling you that she is going to betray that trust. He told her anyway. She betrayed the trust anyway. He then got into so much trouble with that, and then lied about it, doubled down on the lie in a really unconvincing way, and then thought, nailed it. Suri doesn't know. I got away with this. And then spent the rest of the week feeling like everything was fine and that this was the first boring week of the season and that everything is like everything is chill now. And to make it worse, he's now getting warnings, multiple warnings from Jared. You are in trouble. These are the same kinds of warnings he used to be giving other people, and they didn't believe him, and he got frustrated with them, and now he is on the receiving end of this warning, and he is telling Jared, no, you're wrong, it's fine, so strongly that Jared's getting pissed off at Corey. The one remaining Corey defender in the house is now getting angry at Corey, and then this whole twist thing happens, and Jared is being a douche, and he's like, Corey, you don't have the personality to be chosen by America, sorry. And Corey, a guy who should have his stuff under control, kind of goes off on Jared a little bit. Jared, the guy with the most fragile ego in the house. And now Jared's even more mad at Corey. And now Jared's like, you know what? Izzy and Suri are right about Corey. What does he even do for me? And so that's happening. And then on the other side of the house, his backup plan, his weapons to use against Suri, Cam and Red, they're talking about taking out Corey. And if not Corey, America. It could not go worse for him over the course of this week. His two saving graces are A, I think he got chosen for this twist. He's feeling awfully happy through the day. It feels like he was chosen. So we might have some safety next week. And 2, he has a bunch of information to drop to try to reconfigure this house once he finally realizes that he's in trouble, if he can realize that he's in trouble. The issue is he has a 1 in 4 chance of winning that power, and that's not like the best odds in the world. 2, that information is rapidly becoming outdated. And even if he then spills it all next week, there's a good chance that people won't care by then, or his relationships will have fractured so much that he becomes just the the guy on the street screaming doomsday that nobody believes anymore. And Cerise certainly has the social pull to make something like that happen, especially if people like Jared are backing it up. So things are not looking great for Corey. And I have to drop him all the way down to a 3. This is no good. No good.
Oh my
Corey.
God. All right. Well, I'll switch him to a 5. You guys have got me. Fine. I'll admit it. He sucked this week. I'm not happy about it.
To see that 3 and 6 next to each other is kind of funny.
Yeah. It's a little better now.
This I genuinely think this is one of the biggest drops that we've seen in a while, outside of like the obvious big drops in terms of just a player playing. It's been very bad. It doesn't mean he can't rebound, but definitely not good.
And you mentioned that thing about Izzy. Yeah. Izzy is the easiest person to read in
Everyone
this house.
in the house, including Red, can read Izzy. And she's playing Corey like a fiddle, like a flute.
Like a flute.
Oh my God.
This is part of why too it's a 3. Like Corey is also a player that should know better.
Right.
And doesn't, which makes the targeting of him even worse, because they're not going to give him the like leeway of, well, if he's on the block, we can leave him alone. Like they're looking at him. They're all looking at him. So, all right, let's move on to Felicia. Aysha, how do you feel about Felicia?
Hey, Felicia is the first HOH this season that did not go on the block and out after her HOH reign. That says something. She went up there, she made her move for the house. That was something everybody wanted to do. She exited that HOH room with way more than she entered it with. That when she was moving out, that was hilarious, because she had so much stuff to take out of the HOH room. But the fact that she is back downstairs, and people obviously are grouping her up with Suri and Izzy, but people want Izzy out first. They're not talking about getting Izzy out. They're talking about someone else. I feel like Felicia is on no one's number 1 target list. And I feel like she's just like danced her way back into the mom of the house. She's cooking full spreads like it's Thanksgiving. And they're just happy to have her around. They're happy to hear her laugh from across the house. I feel like she is in a great position while being, basically being Felicia Fields. Like she's like the cousin right now. And I think that it works as long as she stops whatever it was last night with saying, oh, I got a final 2 or 3, but maybe I should have one with you, Jared, because clearly he will run with it. So I think she just needs to not try to switch it up. I think they got a little bored one day and then things got out of hand. If they reel it back in, she realizes that she could trust Suri with her life, because Suri is all about Felicia before last night's shenanigans. So I think that's a good place to be for Felicia, because I don't see a person that wants her out right now. Even if she's on the block with someone, of the people that are left, I don't know who she goes over, because you can justify sending anyone else home. So I think Felicia is in an okay spot. So I'm going to go ahead and give her a 5.
A 5.
Wow, another 5.
for Felicia.
Oh gosh.
The audience a little bit higher on Felicia. They gave her a 7 last week. They're going to give her a 6 this week. I'm inclined to agree with the audience on Felicia. I do think that I've been giving her 7s over the course of the season so far. And honestly, I would stick with the 7, even with Cirie dropping. I think that Felicia is in a still very decent place. She doesn't have the end game that Cirie does, but at least for Felicia, it actually does make a lot of sense to take out Blue. And I like that she's pushing hard for Blue to leave. I think that's good for Felicia. And I also think it's good for Felicia that she's starting to doubt Cirie. I think that's good. If she had gone to Mimi about it and said, hey, Mimi, I have a final 2 with Cirie, but I'd rather have one with you, that's where I'm like, okay, she's starting to become a real threat to Cirie. And I would definitely be decently high on her there. The problem is she went to Jared, not for jewelry.
Right. I was gonna say she wasn't trying to get a ring.
And so instantly Cirie has caught her and is concerned about her and is going to probably be on top of any move that she tries to make. And this could be very dangerous for Felicia, especially because even though Cirie doesn't always feel like it, Cirie has all the options in the world. She does not need Felicia if she doesn't want Felicia. And it's dangerous. It's not the best situation to be in. On top of that, Felicia has floundered a little bit when it comes to making relationships outside of the alliance. So if her relationships within the alliance start to fail, she's going to need to start making more. Cirie is the one that has Matt. Cam and Red don't really have a relationship with Felicia. Corey doesn't really have a good relationship with Felicia. So she's really locked into this, and with Cirie catching her, I'm very worried for her. So I'm going to go with the 6. It's not the 7 here, but things could go up or down for Felicia depending on the events of the coming week. But I mean, that's true kind of for anyone.
Yeah, I'm leaning between a 6 and a 7, honestly. But yeah, I agree with what you guys said. I think, the fact that she kind of left her HOH week pretty unscathed is good for her. But I do think she's made a few errors this week in talking to Jared. Like, first of all, they all said we're not going to tell Jared yet. And then she went and told Jared. And of course, Jared was like, yeah, I know the plan. Felicia told me. So that's not great. And then, the whole final 2 thing, that's not great. But I don't really see her being targeted anytime soon. I feel like I'm still inclined to give her, a 7, just because so far that I'm not so sure that that's going to have that much of an impact, her telling Jared or whatever on her position. So I think I'm just going to keep with my 7, but it's like a teetering 7 and could go down.
All right.
You know what? Could you change mine to a 6? I don't think it'll change the overall rating. Maybe, but
feeling bad.
Yeah, she deserves it.
All right. Well, let's move on then to Izzy. Let's talk through Izzy. The audience gave Izzy.
Wow, another 5.
Wow.
A 5. Wow, that changed the whole average again. Back to 5 is the average again, according to that one. The audience gave Izzy a 5. I've been lower on Izzy, and I'm gonna continue to be lower on Izzy. She almost got backdoored this week. If Cameron had been able to string 2 thoughts together, Izzy would be going home this week. If he had been able to nominate the right people. She continues to be a massive target for everyone. She's for so many people. Now I will give her this. She is playing Corey very well. So she's got that going on for her. But she continues to play the game for Cirie in a spot where she's going to lose. Who does Izzy even beat in the end at this point? people like Cam and Red, who she has no intention of going anywhere near the end with. If she gets to the end with people like Jared and Cirie, like she plans, then I think she's already in a completely losing battle. Again, I'm not ranking that too much into the ratings, but when she is making active game decisions like ratting Corey out, which just isn't a good call for her. Corey is good for her. Corey will take the shots at Cirie and Jared that she is unwilling to make herself, leaving her open to retaining their jury votes and moving forward in a spot where she could actually win the game. We don't talk about it a lot because we've long since accepted that Izzy isn't playing the game for herself. But when she's actively making decisions that harm her own position in the game, I'm going to continue to count that in my rating of Izzy, where it just feels like, how does she even come close to winning this game when this is how she's playing? Because even if she changes her mind in the future and she decides, you know what, I do want to go for the win, she's playing herself into a corner where she won't be able to, because it'll be too far, like way too far down the road, past the point where she could have done anything about it. So I am going to continue to give Izzy a 3 here.
Yeah, same. 3 for me. Her position to me hasn't changed since last week. So yeah.
All right.
Yeah, because if I'm back and forth between a 3 and a 4, but then if I think about the 4 that I gave Corey, I do still feel that Corey has the potential to, like, he's playing for himself. Like, no, he is not going to all of a sudden throw his game on the line for America. That's not going to happen. I think Izzy is too far gone in the loyalty department to Cirie, where she would be totally content, even if they ended up on the block next to each other next week. Anything besides Cirie going home, like she would 100% be okay with. She would be sad about it because this is her dream. Her and Cirie would be able to play the game together anymore, but she would be totally fine going out. And so, yeah, she is a joy to watch. I will say. It is so funny, the fact that it really just boils down to the intensity of her eyes. If she has really intense eyes, she's into it. She's all about what you're talking about. If she is not focused like that, it's just like regular, that she doesn't care for you that much. And it's very apparent. But the fact that it's working on Corey is just wild. That's why I'm like, back and forth, 3 and 4. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to give her the 4.
All right. So it continues. I think this is the 3rd week in a row it's gone 3, 3, 4, 5. That is the Izzy way. All right, let's move on to Jag. When I tell you how much I want to give Jag a 1, and I'm not saying I'm not. I'm just gonna talk and I'm gonna see where it goes. Because the only reason he wouldn't get a 1 is that, like, his blind display of, like, just complete failure to play the game in the way that he should be playing the game got him like the tiniest bit of credit from people who don't care at all. And they were considering keeping it. But I think the thing for me is that, first of all, I expect him to leave this week. He is the person I think is going to be evicted this week when it comes down to it. It's probably going to continue to go back and forth. And maybe he doesn't. But I think even more than Blue, there's a good chance he's going to leave. But unlike Blue and like Corey, he should know better. He has all of the information he needs to stay. And he is willfully going along with a plan that requires the showmance of the person he's sitting next to on the block to be his 6th swing vote person. And he's like, yeah, you know, that's kind of uncomfortable, but what are you going to do? And just thinking about the conversations he had with Cam and Red, knowing how close they were, Cam especially, to doing anything else this week. Cam just needed the smallest nudge. And the thing, too, is that these people go back and forth so much anyway, that if he had ratted them out, he still would have been in contention to stay if it hadn't worked, because they would be, by the end of the week, going, should we keep him now? Because it wouldn't have worked. He would have ratted everything out. They would have, again, like, let's say he rats everything out and they don't save him, like they absolutely would have. And they nominate him anyway. They target him anyway. He can make the same argument. Yeah, I'm really sorry I ratted everything out, but I'm going after Cam and Red. They screwed me over even after I approached them with everything. Now there's absolutely no bridge that could possibly be built because they turned down the only bridge I had left. There's obviously no relationship there anymore. Plus, do you want Blue in this house? Like, and they would have gone back and forth like they always do. It would have been the same scenario.
Yes.
It's a 1. I could not watch those conversations. He went to Cam and he said, there's nothing I can say. And then he went to Red and he said, there's nothing I can say. And there's so much he could have said.
Mm-hmm. He just didn't try anything. That's the thing, is he had so much information at his disposal. He had so many arguments that could be made in his favor. And yet he didn't even try. He didn't even try and say it because he's just like, well, it's not going to happen. So I'm going to be on the block. I'm going to be, nominated. They're not going to take me down with the veto. Well, oh, well. We'll just see what happens. And not only that, he's too loyal to, Cirie and that whole alliance. And he goes and rats out like Corey in America. And it's like, those people were his alliance. I don't know. It's like, what are you doing? Like, those people, you were talking with them. You were working with them. Like, why cut that off? I do hope Jag stays this week because I really do like Jag. And he seems like such a smart player, and yet he just isn't. He just doesn't know what to do with any of the information. He just doesn't know what to do. And I wish he could just turn it around. But I do also feel like now he's officially lost Corey in America, who would have been with him and who he could have had a really good alliance with moving forward. And now he's even if he stays, I feel like he has nobody. So at this point, I got to give him a 1-2, and I don't want to do that because I really like him.
That soundbite has never had so much work to do. It's just because I didn't even talk about the Corey in America thing, but okay, Jared turns down the Save Jag plan. They go, okay, back up. Let's approach Corey in America. And guess what happens? Corey says, no, I don't trust that guy. He's lied to me, continues to lie to me, and he ratted me out for no reason. So why would I save him? And it's just like he could absolutely be, there's so many different opportunities he could have taken to save himself this week, and he did not take those opportunities in any way, manner, or fashion. Aysha, what do you think?
Yeah, it's like the moment in week 1 when the alliance that he had built out in his head went crashing and burning. It was as if, oh my gosh, what do I do? How do I play this game now? Oh my gosh. Oh, maybe I just don't play. Maybe I just hang out with the other nominee on the block all week. The amount of times I've seen Jag and Blue in the same room, I'm like, okay, well, this is useless. There's going to be nothing productive talked about at this moment, because why are the nominees side by side? If Blue is not with Jared, she's with Jag. And it's just neither of you care. Neither of you. And I know Jag cares. He's the same one who has a picture with Brent Champagne.
Brent Champagne.
Yes. You care. You care enough to have a picture with Brent Champagne. You like Big Brother. This is an opportunity of a lifetime. And you were in the house well, you got approached even before. It's not like he was blindsided. No, he wasn't blindsided and put on the block. He was told before that this is what I have to do. This is where you take the training wheels off and you go to work. You do say what you have to say. You have all of this information. That's what Taran, that's the point. Like, he knows stuff going on in the house and is choosing. Maybe he's forgotten. Maybe he's just like,
I've thought about that many times, Aysha.
Yeah.
Because believe me, I have envisioned the exit interview, and I'm not gonna do this because, you know, that's a time for them, not for me. But I've imagined the conversation that I would have with Jag, where I'm like Julie Chenning him, and I'm just like, what were you thinking? Why did you not? You knew all this information. Why didn't you say anything about the fact that you knew that Cam and Red were in an alliance with them? Because and you talked about days before how Cirie and Izzy were at the core of everything, and all you need to do is rat them out and then team up with Cam and Red, and then they wouldn't have nominated you, and it would have been fine. And in my head, he goes, I forgot about that.
He had so much information. He could have just like handed it to them, and he chose not to do.
He's probably okay. Because him forgetting, that feels like that is the only thing that makes sense. But he probably was even thinking, okay, I can't rat out 7 deadly sins, because if I do, then if I happen to get on the block and don't win the veto and I stay, then I won't have them to go back to. Jag, you have no one to go back to if all of those things happen. Why are you not? It's mind blowing. It just doesn't make sense. It just confuses me. I'm so confused watching Jag, because I just like, it just felt like he could have so much potential, and I just don't know what's going on up there in regards to Big Brother. I do see him making friends. I do see that he is enjoying himself, at least. But if you turn on the feeds, he does not look like somebody that is on the block. Blue either. So I'm going to go ahead and round out the HOH and nominee trio and give him a 1 as well.
It's just like, Jag, this is the pull the ripcord moment.
Yeah.
If there's ever a moment to pull the ripcord, it's now. Otherwise, what's the point of there being a ripcord?
Yeah. I think he's just playing scared after that whole Riley thing blew up and that whole like handful alliance blew up. I think he's just playing scared. I think he just doesn't want to, like, he's like, I'm not that player anymore. I don't want to do any of that stuff. I just want to be a team player and just like move with this big alliance. And he doesn't realize that they're just not really thinking of him as part of the alliance. It's not real. It's too bad.
We haven't even talked about the fact that he lost Matt this week.
Just completely.
Matt.
Carelessly.
Jag is on the block, potentially being voted out. Matt did argue for him, but is very much willing to vote him out if that's what's necessary. And guess what we found out while we've been doing the Stockwatch? Matt is one of the 4 that is competing for the invincibility power. You know who he told? Not Jag, who's on the block and might need the power. Cirie. Yeah, the guy that's been working with him all season long has decided to trade up for Cirie, who he has had a relationship with for the last like week.
Yeah.
Stronger than ever.
And I think is the thing that is especially frustrating with Jag is that, like, unlike some of the other people that I've been ranting about, like, I really like the guy. He seems like such a cool guy. I feel like I'd be great friends with him, which only makes it worse.
Yeah,
honestly.
Exactly. It's too bad.
Well, the audience is not quite as low on Jag as we are. They gave him a 3 this week. So he will not get the 1 like Blue did. He will land at a 2 overall. And let's then move on to Jared. Melissa, what are your thoughts on Jared?
Oh my God. Jared is he's not doing well. He revealed his 1 secret. I mean, luckily for him, Blue doesn't care about his secret. So I guess that's good, but he should not have revealed that secret. He's, his showmance might be going out the door. at the hands of his mom. So I feel like that's not good for him.
Mom.
He can't even convince her like that he wants her to stay. He can't convince Corey that she might leave. Like I feel like he has no power in the house right now. And he's not playing well. He's really just, I mean, it's not good for him right now. It's really not. And I think I honestly would like want to give him a 1, but with the way he's played this week. But I think because he still has Cirie, I'm not going to give him a 1. I'm not, I feel like Cirie is such a good thing for him to have around in the house. And I know that even though, Cirie is kind of going against him this week, she would lay down and give him the game if it came down to it. She basically said as much. So I got to give, I got to give him a 3, I think, but honestly, his gameplay is a 1.
A 3 from Melissa. Aysha, how do you feel about Jared?
Oh gosh. This guy. Another one. Just like Blue and Jag, I had such high hopes preseason before a word was spoken. And then we start the season, and it's not like a showmance is such a bad thing. Like we've seen many a showmance succeed in this house and benefited from having the showmance because of the different connections that they have. But when you spend 22 hours of the day with your showmance and just forget the fact that you're playing Big Brother a lot of the times, and then when you're hit with reality because your mom's like, let's have a conversation, then you're like, wait, okay, now I'm trying to catch up. But and trying to like, even it's, looking from the outside looking in, you could justify why he's making a decision, but he has no clue because he's just doing Jared and just living life and making decisions that are not just decisions in the house. When he like, I feel like without Cirie, he like, I don't know what he would be doing. I feel like Cirie, even just existing in the house, even without their touch bases or her like filling him in on anything, or even him feeling like, okay, I need to go give my mom this information. I feel like without that and him left his own devices, I don't know what he would be doing. Because it's not like, oh, Jared has so much potential. I can see it, but he's held back because his mom is there. No. And then we're gonna leave his personality out of it. Okay. It's a tough one because I think that it's just, he's not in an awful position by any means. Could he go up if Blue stays? Could he go up with Blue? Absolutely. Could I see Blue going home? Absolutely. So it's not like he's in huge danger of going home in the next couple of weeks at least. Could I see him making jury? Yes. Unless something just crashes and burns. Like Blue's on her way out and she hugs Felicia and she's like, I know you're Jared's mom. Like, if that happens, oh my gosh, turn the feeds on right away. So he has made many mistakes that could be greatly detrimental to his game. But he's given this information to ones in the house. So, I think I'll have to go with the. It's hard. It's hard. I think I'll have to give him, because last week he was a 6. I think I'll give him a 4.
A 4 from Aysha. The audience also felt, I think, conflicted on Jared. I think that like there's the like, how is he playing right now? Not good. How do we feel about him right now? Not good. Is he still maybe the most likely person to win this game? behind Suri? Yeah. So, like, how do you contend with that? And so he had one of the larger spreads from the audience, but ultimately they agreed, Aysha, and they gave him a 4. So there you go. And I have the same issue. I mean, telling Blue the secret is wild. There's just no reason for it. It's not. I don't think it's going to harm him. I don't think it's going to mean anything or matter at all. But there's no reason to take that risk at all. So it's still an error in my eyes. And he hadn't been playing very well over the last week. I mean, he had been leaving himself out of conversations to the point where people were, making plans without him. And the fact that he's not arguing better for saving Blue, the fact that he's not convinced the alliance that he's got Blue and they shouldn't worry is not good. But I do think Blue will probably stay, and I think that's the right move for him, even if it does piss some people off. And if Blue does stay, then he literally has his family, Suri and Izzy, and his girlfriend, the new one, as the most loyal tight 4 that exists, that nobody sees as a tight 4. And there's only 12 people left in the game. And it's going to be real hard to shake that up. And insulated inside of it all is Jared and Suri. Suri, who's willing to sacrifice herself for his game. I want to start preparing everyone now. There's a high likelihood that Jared is the winner of Big Brother 25. Just putting it out there. There's a high likelihood. We're gonna get used to the idea early, because
I don't want to hear it.
for as much as we love Suri, she is working for Jared and Suri.
If we get down to the end and she actually does like lay down her game to like let him win, I
mean, she might not even need to, because if somebody wins that final 3 HOH, I think they're taking Jared before they take Suri most of the time, depending on the person. That's always been Suri's downfall. And so, but then put Suri on that jury, and she's obviously making sure Jared has those votes, even if she doesn't get to make the roundtable. Like, I'm just putting it out there. We just need to be prepared. Okay. That said, I'm going to agree with Aysha in the audience. I think the play this week was so bad, it continues to diminish his very good position. And so I'm gonna go with the 4 here for Jared. All right, let's move on then to Matt. Aysha, how do you feel about Matt?
So Matt, he's in really tight with Suri, giving her information, giving her information about the alliance that Cameron was trying to propose, and then even telling her just now about the competing in the power. I think he's definitely established what Riley told him is what he was going to stick by. She said, trust Suri. He said, you know what I'm going to do for the next 100 days? Trust Suri. So I think that I don't think there's much more to his game beyond that. He's like, what do I do this week? Even if people bring me in, they want to involve me in their things, I just got to make sure Suri is in the know and I'm good. And so I'm wondering, will people really start to see that as like a problem? Because I mean, a lot of times he's confiding in her, it's in private, but I just people have this comp beast tag that they've put on him. He is an Olympian, so fair. He is very athletic. But like we've seen, it's sludging through goop and getting wedgies and stuff. Not quite the same as swimming. So it's unfair of them to target him for that reason. But I could see a reason that for them justifying that for why he should be on the block. But outside of that, I think that he's positioned himself, not intentionally, but the way that the house is formed, he's in a position where it's not like anyone is immediately targeting him. Maybe they may put him up. They may think about putting him up. He may be on like a short list if we're thinking about how like Big Brother Canada used to do it. If he's on a short list, maybe he could go up. But I think he's in an okay spot. I don't think he's ruffling many feathers, saying a couple things he shouldn't say. And that's what the guys on a lot of these seasons like to do. So I think in terms of his positioning in the house, I think I'm gonna give him a 5.
Wasn't prepared for that.
Wow, another 5.
Well, the audience is a little higher on Matt. They gave Matt a 6. And I'm inclined to agree with the audience on this one. I think that Matt is in a great spot. Everyone in the house trusts him. Everyone wants to work with him. He's basically replaced Corey. He's exactly in Corey's spot almost, except he doesn't have like the wherewithal to know what to do in that spot that Corey did. At least we don't think that he does because he hasn't told us, to the cameras or to anybody. It appears that he is what they wanted Corey to be, which is just a loyal Cirie minion, who's able to play all sides and bring them information. Now, on the other hand, he's probably a bit more comp capable than Corey, and therefore actually more dangerous to bring into the end game than Corey would be. And they don't really see that because I think because they don't know the show as well. Corey tried to warn Izzy, but I don't think they see it that those end game comps get really, really physical. And if Matt comes into the end game with Red gone, Jag gone, Cam gone, maybe even Corey gone, and like, you know, he's facing off against like Mimi might be one of his biggest competition physically at that point. Like that's not a bad place to be, especially since he's starting to develop a relationship with Mimi. And so and maybe Jared at that point as well. But Jared hasn't been performing super well at this point. So I could easily see Matt comping out. He's definitely likable enough to win if he makes it to the end. Like Matt's win equity is actually starting to look valid to me. You know, that said, we know how fickle this group is, and his position right now could go away in a heartbeat, and there's not a lot he could do to prevent that. So overall, I'm going to stick with my 6 for Matt, but things are looking pretty up for him and in my eyes. Melissa, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to give Matt a 6 as well. And I think something, I guess, like, it can be argued that he's kind of losing his allies outside of the Cirie Alliance, like, you know, his potential allies in Jag or in Blue. If one of them goes home this week, like, he loses that ally. You know, also Corey and America, you know, that he doesn't really have the relationship with them anymore. And I just feel like I'm a little worried for him. Like, he's got this Cirie thing, but outside of that, he's not keeping and maintaining any of the relationships. So I think that this 6 could go down. But at this point, I think because he's got the protection of Cirie and because he's not really being targeted by anyone at this point, no one's really talking about him. I think I'm going to stick with the 6 and we'll see where it goes next week.
Yeah, I will say if he had been able to get his way and I thought for sure Jag was going to stay, that was like good work by Matt and he keeps his ally Jag, I would have easily given him a 7. I think that that's a much better spot for Matt to be. But if it looks like Jag is leaving, then that's not good. If Matt had said to the cameras, I'm in this twist comp, then I might have also given him a 7 because that's very good for him. But the fact that he told Cirie, and that's how I know, prevented him from going to a 7. So let's move on then to Mimi. Let's talk about Mimi. The audience last week gave Mimi a 4, and this week gave Mimi a 6. Big jump.
Whoa.
Nice.
Big jump.
And I don't really disagree either. I've liked that Mimi has kind of come out of her shell a little bit more. she's talking to Jag. She's talking to Matt. She's pushing hard for Jag to stay, which would be very good for her. She's bonded with Felicia some more, who's now looking at Suri a little more critically. And all of a sudden, it looks like Mimi might have some options. And I like that a lot. I would like it a lot more if I thought she was going to succeed in keeping Jag. I like that position much better for her. And I would like it even more if she wasn't constantly being thrown out as a possible person to put on the block, as a pawn, as a just anybody but me. And I would like it a lot more if she wasn't being used as an example target for the other side. So I feel like she still has some room to grow. But I definitely like the direction that she is heading in. And so for now, I'm going to move her up from my 4 to
Wow, a 5.
5.
Yeah, same. I'm going to give her a 5. Was waiting for
Wow, another 5.
I was like, is he gonna do it? Yeah, I agree. I think she's in a much better spot this week. And also, you know, I think so part of it is, and the reason why I'm not going up to a 6 like the audience is because I don't really feel like she's doing all that much to get herself in that position. But the fact that people are not targeting her as much, are not looking at her as much of a threat, I think that's very good for her. She's not really, her name is not on the target list in the near future, at least according to what people are saying around the house. And that's really good for her, when last week her name was on the target list and people were saying, we can't trust her. We don't know where her head's at. We need to get her out. Why don't we just put her on the block alongside America or whatever? Now people aren't really saying that. So I think that's very good for her. I just don't know if she has the ability to do anything with it or really better her position, because I don't feel like she has any actual close allies. So yeah, for me, it's a 5. Hopefully move it up next week, but yeah, not yet.
Yeah, I was with the pressure cooker, I was really impressed, like I said earlier, with her and America, with just the willpower, because I thought Mimi would be like, I knew she wanted it, but I didn't know how bad she would want it. And the fact that we did get to see on the episode that she was upset that she, you know, like her hand came off the button, it wasn't intentional like America, was like, okay, that's really good to know. And I also like that she's actually having, I don't know where, before this week, I don't know where she was on the feeds to where she was not having
hiding in the pantry.
Yeah, hiding in the pantry. Like, girl, where are you? I'm so confused. Like, there would be hours, and I'm like, oh, there's Mimi. I forgot we weren't seeing her on the feeds, and that's why her people weren't trusting her, because they're like, she's not talking to us. She got to be talking to somebody, and so and she wasn't. And so I'm glad now, even seeing her spend time, or whether it's Corey spending time with her or her spending time with Corey, I feel like they're actively working on their relationship, which is a great thing if they can really build up that trust and decide like how to move forward together. So I've been really pleased with Mimi this week. I feel like she's way more active in conversations than she has been before. So I'm back and forth between a 5 and a 6, agreeing with y'all or agreeing with the audience. And that's why I gave Matt the 5, because I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna give Mimi the 6. I think she stepped it up. I gotta give it to her. In just the smallest ways. And even just seeing her on the feeds, that's one step of stepping it up. So I'll go ahead and give her the 6.
All right, there you go. Big jump for Mimi from 4 to a 6. Somebody had to move up. All right. Let's then end on red. can't.
This has to be a record.
I can't.
Yeah, how are there this many ones?
I like, not a single thing that comes out of his mouth is accurate. Like, ever. Except, you know what? He can read lips. He was reading Blue's lips from the screen.
Yes.
Fair game. I mean, listen, he trusts Suri way too much. And despite the fact that he is the most loyal person in the world to Suri, he still can't convince Suri that he's loyal to Suri. He's getting played by Matt, Suri, and basically every other person in the game except for Izzy. And he's got this weird fixation on America, who I don't think even knows he exists in the house. So it's so bad. It's so bad. He actively is making his allies worse. He is so bad right now. It could change, but this week was just a masterclass in him. If he wasn't there, Cam would have had a better HOH. But him being there prevented Cam from having the HOH he needed. And he is actively making sure that him and his allies lose this game. That's how I feel about it. Melissa, what do you think?
Oof. I don't know. It's between a 1 and a 2 for me, honestly. I think I'm just gonna. I think everything you said is right. I think he's not very good. I think he has bad reads. He was telling Suri that he doesn't like Izzy, and that it's like, don't say that to Suri. It's like, I just feel like he just doesn't know who to say what to, or even like what he should be saying, which is not good. I guess my one thing is that he's not currently on the block, so maybe I want to give credit to the block people and keep them at the 2 1s I give, and then just give him a little bit above, but he could go down next week. Yeah, I'm just gonna give him a 2. I'm not gonna give him a 1, but I feel very close to it. But yeah, it's not good.
Red, he was the main person. He was the one who saw Izzy's reaction. He was the one who saw that Izzy was not happy. And what did he decide to do? He tells Cam, oh, we got to be careful about Izzy. She wasn't happy. Maybe then you would think that the next sentence is maybe, okay, we could do something about it. Oh, you win veto? So you could do something about it? You could make a little move for yourself? Okay, go ahead, Red. No, next week. Next week we have things to do next week. This is not the week. So you want to get out Blue or Jag over Izzy, who you saw have a physical reaction to your best friend in the house not getting HOH. That is enough to be, or your best friend in the house getting HOH. And that is more than enough reason to be like, oh, you're that against us? You got to go. They literally had all the power this week. They had HOH and veto. It made no sense to do what they thought, quote unquote, the alliance, Legend 25, get it tatted, best alliance in Big Brother history. That's what Red and Cameron think. Might as well. No, they literally, all you did was go ahead and put it in ink that you are going on the block with your friend Cameron. If not next week, no, next week. I like, it's going to happen. So because I want to give him the veto bump like he wanted, but didn't, for one, didn't need it, but then didn't do anything with it when he did win it. So it's just pointless.
He actively wanted to win it to prevent Cam from making a move that was good for both of them. That's what I mean when I say he actively drags down other people in the game. He made his own game worse in order to prevent his ally from making both of their games better.
Literally. So, Taran, I think you're on to something with that 1. So I'm going to go ahead and give him a 1 too.
I didn't even talk about the fact that he volunteered for the block on his allies HOH.
Yes.
And absolutely would have been voted out if that had gone through. Luckily for him, Cam isn't that dumb. And the fact that he literally ran to mom to complain about one of her daughters. Like, Suri, he's being mean to me. Can you please fix it for me? I don't want to ruin our alliance.
Oh man, yeah, he did volunteer to go on the block.
Yeah.
This is a bad week for everyone.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like no one is really. Oh God.
The audience gave him a 3. They gave him a 3. Okay. So there you go.
That's not a good week.
It's a lot of red. A lot of red on that board.
Because of red.
Yep. That's the real goal of red, is he's trying to make as many red squares on the Stockwatch as possible. Not just his own, but as many others as he can as well.
Oh, not a good week for people.
Yeah. The average has definitely moved down there to a 4. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, it's literally for me it was 3s, a 2, some 1s, and then a 4, 5, 6, 6, 7.
Oof.
All right. Well, that's the Stockwatch for the week.
I forgot to do anything.
You forgot to do anything.
I forgot to do anything. I still had actually, you know what? That's actually good for me, I think, because I had Mimi.
Okay, Mimi is the one to have here.
Okay, all right. That's not so bad. I had Mimi, and then I had like a couple blues, maybe like 5 or something, maybe less than that. So that one not so well, but the Mimi one, that's pretty good.
All right.
Better than I thought. I was gonna buy Corey last week, and then I forgot. Turns out that's actually good for me.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. We'll see if that's what that does to the leaderboard, or I'll try to. It's tough to give updates on the leaderboard during the podcast because things get very bogged up.
I think I was all in on Mimi if I remember. I can't remember.
Yeah, it's I'm trying to. I don't think it's quite updated yet, so I don't think we can check for sure. But
let's just say I'm doing really well and I'm the best Melissa. So
the best Melissa.
Let's just say that. I'll keep that.
Yes. So yes, we'll see. We'll see where things go from there. Any final thoughts before we wrap up the
I'm really wanting to know who got the power, or who were the top 4 vote getters. I just really want to know. We know it's Suri and Matt, but I want to know who the other 2 are. And I keep refreshing Twitter because I'm like, I want to know, but nobody's saying it.
It sounds like Corey might have been about to say something to the cameras, like what a day today was, like smiling, and then they cut away from him. I would be very surprised if just the way that Corey was acting earlier today, I'd be very surprised if he wasn't chosen. I feel like he's hiding it very poorly, and if he wasn't chosen, I have no idea what he's doing, because he's certainly making it seem like he was chosen. A lot of people in the house think he was chosen. So I would be surprised if it wasn't him, which would mean Corey, Matt, and Suri. And then who is the 4th person? Could definitely be Jag. Could maybe be America. It's yeah,
I mean, when I asked my mom who she would vote for, she had said Jag and Izzy, and she had said one other person, but I can't remember who. Maybe Suri. And so Jag was up there. I asked my dad the same question, and he said Cameron. So I don't know what's going on. I don't think that that's going to really actually make a dent, because my dad wouldn't take the time to vote. Neither would my mom. So like, maybe it means nothing. But I was surprised when he said that.
Right now is Daddy get trapped in the nether region.
Yeah, well, My dad literally was like, he's like, I just want to, shake it up. I want to mix it up a little or whatever. I was like, okay. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think Cameron's going to get it, I'll say.
No, I don't think that's super likely. Aysha,
Yeah,
any
it's
comment
hard
about-
to. Yeah, it's hard to think about who the fourth person could. I think it could be anyone. But yeah, definitely not Cameron. Or
They
even
think
Red.
that Cameron is like the only one who's like gonna go against Suri, that he's like he's the underdog, and that like as far as the edit goes, it seems like he's the underdog. He is the potential like person to go against Suri. He's the only one recognizing that like Suri has all this power, is like according to like what, and so to give him this power would be to shake up the house. But maybe they'll have a different view knowing that like he's not doing anything with his own HOH.
Yeah, I wonder if it's Jag, because I could see he got a lot of, well, not that much with the chicken, but if people thought the chicken suit was fun, we've seen a lot of Jag on the episodes. So I could easily see there being a pro Jag voting population. But yeah, I'm loving the season. I am thoroughly waiting for a certain update tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern, because I just feel like the feeds have been so in and out all day. It's been so hard to keep up. So I am so happy to be here to talk about it. So thank y'all for having me. And Taran, thank you so much for your daily updates. They've been amazing. The YouTube shorts have been amazing. I just feel like I really appreciate RHAP's coverage of Big Brother this season.
All right. Well, that's what we have for you this week on the Stockwatch. I hope you enjoyed this. I'd like to say it was cathartic, but it wasn't. It's I'm still mad. I need to slash more of these numbers. Maybe next week they'll still be playing this bad. But the week has been interesting. I will be here tomorrow morning, of course, 11 a.m. Eastern, to update you on everything that happened today on the Big Brother 25 live feeds. Tomorrow night, we will have another episode. I'll be live on Twitch, twitch.tv/Taran Armstrong, watching the episode live with all of you. There's so much content for these two episodes. I mean, between the Jared and Blue stuff and the arguing, there's so much for them. So hopefully we get something good. And then just check out all of that stuff. We will be speaking to Claire tomorrow afternoon in the Eastern realm. So if you want to listen to us check in with Claire about the season, you can tune in then. And I think that's about what we've got for you. Aysha, what do you got going on?
Yeah, so y'all can follow me on all social media at Aysha like Aysha. That's AYSHA like ASIA. Right now, mostly everything I'm doing is on the Love at First Sight feed. So for Married at First Sight over on the A Perfect Match podcast with my co-host Jason Reed, we interviewed two past brides from Married at First Sight from this past season 16. So go check that out. Also, currently, Mary and I are covering The Ultimatum. So they decided to just drop 8 of the 10 episodes last week. They're dropping the last 2 episodes this week. So Mary and I have covered the first 4 in one podcast. We covered the second 4 episodes with Jason Reed. So that's out. And you can get that on the Love at First Sight feed, or even on the Rob Has a Podcast YouTube channel. And yeah, Love is Blind After the Altar premieres September 1st, which is Friday. So Mary and I will be back to talk about Love is Blind After the Altar, and then Love is Blind season 5 premieres September 22nd. So we'll be back then as well.
All right. Well, you can of course find Melissa at It's Melissa with 3 A's. And you can also find her on the Stockwatch, where she is no longer the worst Melissa. She has managed to just barely pass one Melissa to be the second worst Melissa.
That's right.
On the Stockwatch.
No longer the worst Melissa. That's all I asked for.
You've got $12 over the lowest Melissa.
$12, you know, it's every dollar counts.
So there you go. Thank you all so much for joining us here tonight, and we will see all of you next time.